No, I mean,
Once y'all see our crowd, please raise your hand.
Sergeant Farm, you see any more assistant agencies outside in the hallway? Okay, good, great deal. We're talking to you. We talking to law enforcement. Bring him, come on. Media talk. WSB talk, we talking to him. You're like, yeah, I'm good. No, they were talking to you.
I don't know nothing about no camera, man.
Talking about officer presence over here. We're about to bring him in. They're gonna line him up. Bring him in. Yeah, I've been here 22 years. We never did. We've done this. Remember the Jack Boys? Remember that case? Remember the Jack Boys, Michael?
Hey, yo, what up?
The Jack Boys. I was telling you.
Y'all make sure y'all leave that like, hit that like button and share this.
Remember them? About 2012. Yeah, Jack Boys. He went on like a 3-day killing spree.
oh, really?
Yeah. And we had it was like four co-defendants. Like 4 of them. We had it in court at the same time. Yeah. It was multiple murder. Yeah. Yes, sir. Jack Boys, yeah.
You need to not talk so fast. I was miserable last night. Like, no more candy for you.
Okay.
No, that's fine. They might want to.
Yo, I'ma join in a minute. I'm just waiting on people to get in here real fast.
We got the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 26th. Well, I gotta go to then you might do it.
Well, hey, it's a lot
Hey, yo, appreciate the comment, Rakeem.
Get some rest. Any rest lessons? That's you're super healthy. I got nuts. You're talking. I'm gonna put the in this basket. Oh, sorry. I'm not emailing you. There's no rush. I'm doing the transfer tonight or tomorrow. Next.
No, sir. I'm using this one.
That was all.
I don't, am I allowed to make?
Sir.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing a giveaway later on, so y'all leave y'all cash out.
Okay.
Please don't quote me.
I promise you. Listen, I always say it's I'm going to be good sources of how to start the year right now, and we're going to talk to them. So when you do that, I'm going to have a good working relationship. The Attorney General, who knows? They're scared of me. They're scared of me.
Sir.
Scared of me.
You know.
Tell her I don't bite. I'm not.
No, we just have a, we have a process that we have to go through.
He knows.
The process can take a week sometimes for a simple question.
Does she have armband, Sarge? She got an armband? She got one? Okay. Okay.
All right. Here goes full county last session. I will judge will be handled for the order.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated.
Y'all give me y'all give me 1 second.
Good morning. How you doing? Council, take all cell phones. All cell phones. You're outside of our right now. Cell phone.
Yo, my bad, my bad.
Open door, makes it.
Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button.
It makes a difference if I focus on
Two experts.
That's pretty good. What do I get? Next time you're here, what's that?
Hey, to all the attorneys, if y'all just do me a favor and when if you have to make an objection or something, because all up here is like a voice out crowd and I don't have voice recognition, so you can just say on behalf of Mr. So-and-so, I object or whatever, so I can get down and talk to you. That would be really helpful, because I think yesterday, a few times someone said no objection. I have no idea who just said it, so that would be helpful. Thank you. And I restocked my opinion before I was.
All right. You might be asking yourself, is rush order teas good enough for my business? Well,
There we go. There we go. There we go. My bad. My bad.
all right, Denise McMullen.
This shows a lot of wanna be tough motherfuckers ain't built like that. When you join something, respect the code. You knew what it was when you jumped in. Don't be scared now. That's facts, bro. Make sure you share this.
What time did you come in yesterday? Right on time. There you go. So
And make sure y'all hit that like button, bro.
You get a check mark. That's wonderful. All right. Jaden Myrick, Miss Bernard, good morning. All right, Cormerius Nicholas. Good morning, Mr. Harvey. Mr. Bott said he'll give you, maybe some bagels.
Hey man, this man talking about bagels. Young Thug is shitting in his clothes right now.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, councils. I listen. I see everybody. Thank you, sir.
Young Thug is shitting in his clothes right now.
All right. Good morning, Antonio Sledge. Where's Mr. Sledge?
Judge,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wright is his attorney. He didn't need him for this
That's
morning.
right. Okay, you were correct about that.
Yo, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, bro. Share this.
Good morning, ma'am.
Appreciate everybody joining the stream right now. Little afternoon entertainment.
Good morning, sir. All right.
Little afternoon entertainment. How y'all day going so far?
All right. Good morning, Mr. Watson, Mr. Sharp, and good morning, Mr. Stillwell. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know you pay. I understand. That's right. Thank you. All right, and Antonio, someone, Mr. Hoover. Good morning, sir.
Hey yo, once again, I appreciate that, Wallace. I appreciate that.
Couple of administrative announcements. From yesterday evening, I've talked to Mr. Kearns, my staff attorney, and we will have
Cold but blessed.
Emailed out to
Yeah.
close of business today.
Hey, all kind of flights getting shut down, bro.
So that we can have a discussion about those questions Thursday morning. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I would just politely remind everybody
Oh,
Everybody
there you
has to
go.
be here at 9 o'clock. I start, not 9 by 9:30. We can't start till everybody gets here, so it's as much as you can. Please go ahead and get here timely. And if you run into any problems, as many of you have done, please just contact my chambers. But try as much as you can to be on time, so we can go ahead and get started, as we've got a fair amount of business each day, which we'll try and accomplish. All right. Those are the only two administrative announcements I have for this morning. As I understand it, Ms. Rosenwasser, you have Mr. Pineda available, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Mr. Pineda and Investigator Hall. I'll be covered Investigator first.
Yeah, let's call Mr. Pineda first, please. Thank you. All right. Walter Pineda.
Yo, I'm be doing a cash giveaway later on too, so make sure y'all put y'all cash up in the comments, like, subscribe, all that.
Once you get there, if you would be so kind to turn and face Deputy Talton to be sworn as a witness, please.
You swear to affirm the testimony I give the court, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you? I do. You want to take a seat?
Gunna is the reason it's all over for him. All that music was fake. Facts, bro. Facts.
Sir, sit down. Please, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Pineda.
Good morning.
Mr. Pineda, where are you employed, sir?
I self-employed and I work for a company called Marathon Photo.
And just so everyone can hear you in the back, can you come in and need you to lean forward and speak to the microphone?
Okay.
And how long have you been employed in that position?
I've been doing video enhancement for almost 30 years.
Okay. And what were you, how were you employed previously?
I was employed by a company called Pinkerton. I went there until the company closed down. And I went independently.
And can you tell us a little bit about your educational background?
I got a degree in professional photography and design.
Okay. In your current position, how did you become involved in that line of work?
The company that I was working for, we were taking care of financial institutions, taking care of people that were doing forgeries and bank robberies. So I was able to be trained by the company to be able to get the images that they needed for the person that committed the crime.
And do you have any relevant training or?
The company trained me at the time.
Okay.
Because back then it was film.
Do you have any relevant training? I'm sorry.
Back then it was film. Then it became video or VHS, CDs, and then hard drives.
Mr. Pineda, how do you stay up to date on your training?
I follow the training on the experience that I have to do the same things on new cases.
This man, right? Look at this dude bow tie, bro.
Do you have any specific, like, continuing?
Look at this dude bow tie, bro.
And bilingual interpreter in legal, medical, and educational interpretation.
What kind of certifications have you obtained?
That will be the legal.
I just seen something yesterday where he was said to have a rat before he was even known. You telling people never heard that before. They bought him around. I mean, you know Gunna already, you know, told allegedly. I mean, Gunna was on Crime Stoppers, bro. Gunna was on Crime Stoppers. Yeah, Gunna was on Crime Stoppers, bro.
My resume?
Has there been any alterations or changes to that document?
No, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I move to admit state's proposed exhibit 10. Previously served as counsel. Any objection to state's 10? Purpose of motion. All right, state's 10 is admitted. Mr. Pineda, have you been qualified as an expert before?
I do.
What states?
Georgia.
Okay. And what courts?
State.
About how many times?
would you say?
over 50 times.
Can you describe for the court the method video enhancements are performed?
Yes, I do. When I do the video, I check the image, the quality.
Yo, do y'all think a Gunna snitch though?
To find
Y'all
the
think
that I'm interested in, I will divide.
y'all think Young Thug gonna beat this case?
The screen in 4 sections, and I will get 1/4 of that section to follow up on the particular image or interest of the image to enhance the video.
What kind of results can be expected from, enhancing video evidence?
The result could be a better view of the evidence given by the prosecution.
Y'all can hear it, right?
Is this type of video enhancement like you described? Just describe for the
Man,
court.
that man said, "Daddy is
have
here."
Other law and agencies use this type of service?
Yes, they have.
Just prosecution?
Prosecution, defense attorneys, police departments, GVI, and FBI.
Hey, what? No,
And
what?
as far as you
Lamont?
know, is it generally accepted?
Yes, it is.
Are there any kind of standards or like control, how video enhancements?
All right, cool.
are performed?
You have to follow a protocol, meaning when you divide the images in 4 sections, that 4 will have to be like, get the first image, and if it's too small, then you go to a bigger image. And if he wants it to be bigger, then you go to a bigger image.
And that standard that you just described for the court, did you follow those procedures?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What did you enhance in this case?
In this particular case, I enhanced 2 videotapes.
Yeah, he
or 2
told it.
videos.
Nah, he ain't getting out.
One from a parking lot area by a car driving by and a gas
Appreciate
station.
that, Jack. Appreciate that. I feel like Thug was heartbroken when he watched his mans do this thing on him. Yeah. But
And
some
you
people
did use that
say
standard,
Young
for
Thug
the
gave him no
enhancements in the-
K.
Yes, I did.
Gave him no K though.
Your Honor, at this time, we would ask that that the court qualify
know.
Mr. Pineda in forensic video analysis based on his experience, his background, training, and the fact that this is well established.
Forensic video analysis?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anybody wish to vote out of the witness?
Yes, I do.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Adams.
Thank you. On behalf of Mr. Williams. Mr. Pineda, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
You can hear me okay?
Yes, I do.
All right. I want to ask you a few questions, please, about the work that you've done or what you just testified to. And if you don't understand,
You
the
ain't
question,
see
please
that
let me know and I'll
man
be happy to
face?
rephrase, okay?
What about
you
his
indicated
face,
you've been
bruh?
qualified as an expert previously
Yes, I have.
in the state courts here in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
And you've been qualified in what field or in
Gunna,
what
Lucci
particular
testifying
category
against
specifically?
Thug.
Video
Yes,
analysis
yes,
and
easy.
video enhancements.
I fuck with Thug too.
Now, you
Okay.
stated earlier, I want to ask you some questions about the protocol that you referenced. The state asked you whether or not there's a particular protocol
Just
that you
to know,
follow in
motherfucker,
regards to
finna
video
tell on you
enhancement.
hurts more.
Could you
than
describe
getting
for us what
shot.
that protocol
Facts.
actually is, please?
The protocol
Facts.
is to follow up the section in which I'm involved to enhance, meaning I have to divide the screen in 4 sections. That 1/4 of the sections, I follow up the same size, the images in which are being involved on the video analysis.
All right. So that's a description apparently of what you actually do in terms of video enhancement.
Yes, it is.
But in terms of the protocol, are those protocols recorded anywhere? They're written protocols that govern exactly how you enhance a
The
video.
protocol is involved in the images given to the
Hey,
prosecution.
Raheem. Hey.
Okay.
Every detail is given to them in every folder, tells you a description of what it was done to that particular image.
Okay. So would I be correct in that what you're saying is that
That
when
bow
you
tie is fucking
forward
me up.
what you consider to be the enhanced video to the prosecution, you have instructions or you're telling them exactly what you did to enhance that video?
I did not write anything to that matter. I just let them see and see for themselves for what I have done.
But in terms of when I say protocol, are there any written protocol from any agencies, any organizations that talks about the best practices for video enhancement that you are aware of?
No.
There are none?
Not that I'm
No.
aware of.
Okay. Are you aware of whether there are any publications that make reference to the mechanism that you use, the protocol that you use? Any publications that you would look to in regards to video
No.
enhancement? None?
None.
You referenced earlier in your testimony that the video enhancement is used by other agencies. Are you familiar with whatever protocols are used by those agencies?
That man said that joint leaning though.
They don't use any protocols for me to use. No.
Okay. You responded to one of the prosecutor's questions earlier. He asked you whether or not you know if
Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button.
the standard of video
Sure.
enhancement or the practice of video enhancement that you utilize, whether or not it is, quote, generally accepted. And you said it is.
Yes, it is.
Do you know by what agencies or what entities that protocol is generally accepted by?
It has been accepted in the Cobb County, Fulton County, and Gwinnett County.
Okay. And when you're responding to it being accepted, are you talking about it has been used in those counties? Video enhancements have been used in those counties. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. I have no further questions for this witness.
Anybody else? Go ahead. Mr. Weinstein, you can go third. All right.
Yo, what questions y'all? What questions y'all got?
Mr. Dorsey.
What y'all would like to know?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Now, what was your name again?
Walter Pineda.
Mr. Pineda, how are you?
Fine.
All right. So we spoke a little bit
That
about
motherfucker
the
look like
way
he
that you
could
develop
hustle
your
kilos of
expertise.
cereal.
What
Then
you
he'll
claim to be
tell
your
you.
expertise. And you said you used to enhance tape back in the day, right?
Film.
Film. And then film developed into VHS. Is that right? And then CDs. Is that right?
Correct.
And now they're hard drives.
Correct.
So now, is it fair to say that technology has changed drastically?
Hey, we got
Yes.
11 people
Have
up
you
in here.
received
Y'all
any
hit that like
training
button, bro. Y'all hit that like button. I'm
It
trying
comes
to
to
share
the
the
new
tribe with y'all.
technology that is used
what's going
nowadays
on, bro?
in the
What's
video
up?
recording.
I have not.
Okay.
But the last time that I worked for Pinkerton, we already were using hard drives.
That man got a long
But you
ponytail.
haven't been trained formally by any agency or any education from any school.
They don't have anything available for that.
All right. Now, when the state asked you, did you receive any further training? Your response was that you have gotten training as a bilingual interpreter and as a medical interpretation. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. And those things have absolutely nothing to do with video enhancement. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
You don't need to speak Spanish to be able to enhance a video.
Correct.
Now, you describe the way that you do it, but you have not told us if that is the way that everybody else does it. Is that right?
I don't know how everybody else does it, but the way I do it, that's the way I've been doing it for years.
Okay.
He said that's the way he been doing it for
Do
years.
you have a bachelor's degree?
No, sir, I don't.
Hey,
Do
yo,
you
where
have
everybody from up
any
here
type
though?
of, education with IT?
I don't have.
Okay. Do you have an associate's degree?
No, I don't.
Do you have a high school degree?
I have a high school. Yes, I have a high school degree and I have a diploma on professional photography and design.
All right. Where did you get your diploma on professional photography?
Southeastern Center for the Photographic Arts.
And when did you get that?
I got that in 1987.
1987. Has the technology that was used in 1987 changed
This is suit for me
drastically to the
because
technology used, say,
motherfuckers
from
look like
2010
they
to
came in the bitch drunk
2022?
from last night.
I believe so.
Have you been trained
Don't
in
ask me
that new
about
technology by
everybody
any
else,
formal education
What?
agency?
No, I have not.
Now, when you say
Bro,
that
chill out.
you have testified over 50
East
times,
Chicago,
is that right?
bro.
More than 50 times, yes, sir.
And when was the last time that you testified?
I testified over probably
from Indiana,
about
bruh?
6 months ago in DeKalb County.
DeKalb County, okay. Now, you also said that you have testified for the defense sometimes, is that right?
Yes, I have.
How many times out of those 50 plus times?
I would say more than 10 times.
How about 10 times? Okay. Now, when you enhance these videos, you describe
That was
it,
a
you
Lamont.
break it up
That
into
was a-
4 sections, is that right?
No, I break it up into 4 sections and use only one section.
Okay, and when you break it up into that 4 sections and use that one section, what do you do with that one section?
That one section follow up on the images involved on that particular event. So I get all the images involved. Let's see if the person is going by. I capture every single event of the person going in front of the camera.
But other than freeze framing the video, what do you actually do? What is the process to, as you say, enhance these images?
All I do is get closer, and if the image is
For sure,
too
big
noisy,
brother. All right, Lamont.
use the noise out.
Nah, he said,
Is
I don't
that
know how everyone do
something
their
that I
takes.
could do if I had the
Oh,
right
okay,
software to get it done?
You can do it if it's up to you, yes.
So any layperson that has the right software could just go ahead and do
Yo, we
that?
got all
If
these
you
people
have the
in here and
experience,
only
they wanna
got
do it, it's
4
up to them.
likes.
So
Hey,
you don't
y'all
have
can't
to have
hit
a
that like
degree or
button,
any
bro.
level expertise to actually do that.
Correct.
And is it fair to say that sometimes some careers just with technology advancement just become obsolete?
Not this particular one. I mean, I've been doing it for 30 years.
Then how come are you moonlighting as an interpreter as well?
No,
Okay, so how come you haven't gotten any further training as to the technology?
because people have not using video technology as much as they used to do it in the past.
Okay. Has anybody ever reviewed your work? Has there ever been any peer review of the work that you do?
I'm not aware of. I mean, the only thing is give the evidence to the prosecution or to defense, or to the police department, and they're satisfied with it, and they are.
What is the name of the software that you use?
I use a software called Photoshop.
Photoshop, that's the one I can get on
Photoshop.
the Apple Store?
Man, you use
I mean,
Photoshop,
it's
bro.
up to you, whatever you want to do it.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Mr. Panea, Mr. Panea,
Yes, sir.
over here. How many video enhancements have you done over the course of 30 years? Just ballpark.
I would say over 500.
Over 500? Okay, all right. Next.
Doug Weinstein for Mr. Kendrick. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Is he working for the state?
You were saying
I
that you're
believe
not
so,
aware
Rakeem. I
of
believe so.
any organizations that certify video enhancement technicians. Is that correct?
I don't.
Are you familiar with the International Association of Identification?
No, sir.
Are you aware that they have certifications?
I sustain the objection.
Okay.
Remember, it's knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education, okay?
Are you certified by them as a forensic video technician?
No,
Are you certified by them for forensic photography?
no,
Are you familiar with the paper by the Scientific Working Group on Imaging Technology that lays out guidelines for following imaging
no.
techniques? So according to their guidelines, you're supposed to keep a documented record of the techniques that you use. Do you keep a documented record of what you do?
I don't.
It also
Hey, y'all
states that
come
you
in-
should have.
Y'all
peer
come in, let
review
me
of
know
your
if y'all
work.
think
Is there
Thug
peer
gonna get out of
review
this,
your
bro.
work?
I don't know.
It ain't looking good, bro.
I don't know who has reviewed it.
I'm sorry, could you say that
I
again?
said, I don't know who has reviewed it. No, I don't.
Are there others in your company that review your work?
No, I work independently, sir.
The guidelines also state that there should be annual training. Do you participate in any annual training?
I have not.
Gentlemen, object to their last question. Witness testified he's not familiar with the guidelines.
I asked if he participated in annual training.
Training, that's different. I'll overrule the objection.
Have you undergone any competency testing?
No,
The guidelines also specify that there should be proficiency testing. Have you had any proficiency testing?
I hope so. This don't look good, fam. I feel you, bro. I feel you, my boy. I feel you, my boy.
The guidelines also state that there should be standard operating procedures for image enhancement. Do you have a set of standard operating procedures that you follow?
I do.
And what are those standard operating procedures?
Like I told you before, I follow up the way that I always do it in every single enhanced video that I work in.
And are those standard operating procedures written down somewhere?
No, sir.
So
Something I learned through the years.
Your technique for image processing involves breaking the image up into 4, can I say quadrants? Is that fair?
Correct.
When you analyze those quadrants, do you do that in the spatial domain or the frequency domain?
The frequency domain means the frame that I obtain out, in which is highlighted. So I follow that by every single image that I'm working in.
I'm not sure that you followed the question. Sir, do you know what frequency domain processing is?
Not specifically, no. But
Do you know what, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, finish your
The
answer.
question is, will he
Sir,
make
do you
it
know what spatial
in
domain
time for
processing
the
is?
The
peach
spatial is
drop?
the space.
What does that
I
mean,
think
man?
is the space in which you are involved according to the images
Who about
on
Buddy
the
that tied?
monitor.
He wouldn't
Do
be
you
reliable.
know the
witness to me.
circumstances where you should use spatial domain processing?
No, I don't.
Do you know the circumstances where you should use frequency domain processing?
No, I don't.
When you're seeking information from the image, do you know when it's appropriate to use spatial domain processing versus frequency domain processing?
I'm not familiar with that.
I stand the objection.
Then Georgia using this bootleg video, dude. Y'all better advise y'all family if they had a case with him involved. Life
And the last
is
question, sir, is
life.
your
File
particular
a
processing
dismissal, my
technique.
bad.
Do you have
I
any
can't read.
publications?
No, sir.
I can't
Thank you. I have
read.
no further questions.
Anybody else?
I do, Judge.
Couple means 2. Don't lie to me, okay? So
Oh, he said, don't lie to him, bro.
Now, I just had a few questions. So, do you ever compare one of your enhanced videos to a video of the same thing but of higher quality to see if your enhancement actually made it look enhanced?
If you're telling me about a video from 10 years ago and a video now for 4K, you will see the difference. From 10 years ago, it's very grainy. From today's, it's very clear. I can see.
Y'all
your
make sure y'all hit that
freckles.
like button,
I
bro.
can see your eyelashes.
Okay, it's true though. I don't have freckles though, do I?
I stand.
Okay, but what I was really asking you is, have you ever taken maybe a HD camera and videotaped something, and then taken a non-HD video camera and videotaped the same thing, and then supposedly enhance the non-HD one so we can compare the two and see if your work actually makes any difference?
Hey, look how old buddy look
Okay,
right there in the
how
back,
many
bro.
times have you done that?
That's 'cause, like I said one time, 10 years ago, I used VHS cameras. Today, I have myself a new camcorder, 4K, so you can see the difference. I did not take the same thing, but when you do the close-ups or the enhancements
understand
of
why
it,
he's
you can see the
interpreting
difference
that.
and the details on the image.
Okay, and did you record that anywhere? The accuracy
No,
of
I
that?
didn't record it.
And that was 10 years ago?
No, I did the video on 4K not too long ago and the VHS years ago.
Okay, and then you said you use Photoshop to enhance the images?
Yes, sir.
And it's also true that Photoshop can be used to alter images?
Yes, it can be used, but I haven't.
Oh,
What are you
man.
supposed to tell besides taking your word for it that you haven't altered any images?
You tell me which one I have done, and then I'll respond to it.
Okay, so just your responses.
If you have
Yeah, what's
something
y'all
that I've
thoughts? What
done
y'all thoughts on
that
this
has
trial,
been
man? Y'all
altered
talk
by
to me.
me, you let me know.
Okay, and then once we let you know,
Y'all talk to me.
what's going to happen next?
I don't know.
Basis.
Relevance?
Your Honor, it's goes to his direct previous question.
As to in terms of what? What previous
Like
question?
how the general question still hasn't been answered, but how are we going to know whether one of his work product items has been altered in
Is that an
Photoshop?
issue in this case?
Yeah.
You think that he's altered one of the documents, or altered it?
No, Your Honor, credibility is always at issue. And
That's
so,
weight. That doesn't go to the things that I'm the gatekeeper, remember? So part of that is, do you have something that would indicate to me that he should be disqualified because he's altered something? I don't think there's been anything in terms of foundation.
Your Honor, my point would be that if there isn't a way to know whether he's altered it or not, that goes to the weight and the credibility.
Well, that's a determination for the jury to make. But I'll make of course, I'll make an initial threshold under.
I think Gunna got the best deal. You think?
The relevancy issue is kind of waning.
The man is out of jail, bro.
Move on.
The man is out of jail.
So apart from asking you and you answering, we don't have any way to know whether or not you've altered images in Photoshop.
It's up to the person to decide, not mine.
Okay. And what person do you mean?
It could be you, it could be the jury. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
Anybody else? Any other defense attorneys? Okay, all right.
Your Honor, you would want to also move to qualify him as an expert in bilingual language.
Well, Rakeem says you don't have an education in the arts.
Here for. Yeah, you
know
know
what
that's
he
not what
said,
he's here
bro?
for.
I'm trying to make him give that for a trial for my own research.
When
Black folks get rich, listen carefully.
And pay him.
The police are
Okay?
watching soon.
And then maybe he'll show up, but don't try and circumvent the process. There's a way to subpoena witnesses and everything else, and you want to qualify him as a bilingual. If you have a separate need and employment, then I'll let you do that off kind of at your discretion and your leisure, okay? But that's not the time to do it now.
Okay, Judge, for the record,
Oh man.
his answers to the state's questions.
I know, but that just fills out what he's been doing the past 30 years, okay? In terms of what he has done, additional education he's gotten. You've already kind of examined him about that. It has nothing to do with video enhancement. It's just another skill set that he has, okay? But it's not relevant for the inquiry that he's making right now. All right? All right?
Ms. Bennett, how many times have you qualified as an expert?
Section ask and answer.
Hey, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, bro.
Mr. Matthews.
Carlton Matthews.
And then say the objection.
Ask and answer.
Thank you.
And I sustain the objection. Christine has been asked and answered.
Look at Thugger.
He testified over 50 times.
Ms. Bennett, have you kept up with the current technologies?
No, I have not.
Was this an old video that you performed video enhancement for?
Yes.
Why? Who there, Mark?
Thank you.
Well, if Thug go, he good. He used to wearing dresses. That man say he used to wearing dresses, bro. Used to wearing dresses, bro. Free Thug. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like and share button, bro. At least hit that like button, bro. Come on. We got a lot of people up in here. Well, what I'm looking at, I got 11 people up in here. That's a lot for me, bro. What they doing? They need to hurry up. I mean, you know, maybe you gotta interpret something. I don't know, man. I mean, they just really just got started, you know. They just got started. Friday. Come on now. How y'all Christmas, man? Tell me about y'all Christmas, bro. Tell me about y'all Christmas. You have a good Christmas.
Any argument on this particular witness before I go ahead and make a decision? Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir. Just very briefly on behalf of Mr.
My
Williams,
Christmas was pretty
the issue
straight.
before
It
the
was
court is
all right.
whether or not he should be qualified as, if I'm correct, I think the state is moving to qualify him as a forensic video analyst. Did I get that correct?
Yes, sir. Forensic video analysis.
I would say to the court, Your Honor, based clearly upon the responses to the questions put before this witness, and in consideration of the Daubert standard and Rule 702, that this witness is clearly not qualified under that standard. I would just state the court knows the law, so I will just say that under the Daubert standard, we look towards relevance and reliability of the witness's testimony. Putting aside the relevance, that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about reliability of the technique of the proper testimony that would be offered. And
that was
although
our king.
702 and Daubert is somewhat flexible, it's geared towards scientific validity and the principles that underlie a proposed submission, in this case, a video enhancement. We don't look towards the conclusion, we look towards the principles and the methodology, and we look towards whether or not there's been the testing of the experts, the proffered experts' theory. There has not been. We look for whether or not there's been publication in support of the expert's method or theory. There's no testimony that there has been any of that. We look towards, the court is advised under Daubert to look towards.
What about his education? Because that's kind of the issue for me is, so we want to talk about that, or his experience, I should say. He's been doing this 30 years. So
education and experience is factors that the court can look to as well. But and I heard the witness testify that he has testified in regards to video enhancements upwards of 50 times. Those 50 testimonies could all have been improper. They could have been wrong because the methodology has to be tested. They could all very well have been done under the Harper standard, which is no longer the law in the state of Georgia. The question before the court is whether or not this witness meets the Daubert requirements. And I would say to the court that simply looking at the responses to the questions, both on direct and on cross, on voir dire, that he does not. That the witnesses testified that there are no protocols to the methodology used by him. He is unable to indicate whether or not his method or his methodology is generally accepted. There is no peer review. It's not just that he doesn't know if there's any peer review.
I appreciate that, Wallace. I appreciate that.
There is no testimony as to the error rate of his methodology. On all of those factors, he fails. This witness fails in terms of being able to be qualified as an expert.
I appreciate everybody watching this with me, joining me, everybody hitting that like button. I appreciate everybody.
Mr. Adams,
on my channel,
regurgitate, but just add if you've got anything to that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
On behalf of Mr. Eppinger, Your Honor, the court pointed out the education and experience in this particular case. The witness testified that he had performed almost 500 of these video analysis over 30 years. That breaks down to less than 2 per month over the past 30 years. He also testified that he does not have any formal education or no continuing education with regards to these things over the past 30 years. Those are 2 things that he directly testified to. He has not shown that he has the requisite experience in this particular matter to be qualified as an expert, and as such, neither the education, Your Honor. So we believe that under Daubert, he should not be qualified as an expert. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Looking at 24-7-702, testimony by expert witnesses.
Like I say, I appreciate everybody joining me watching this on my live stream, watching this.
B,
just a little update.
If scientific, technical, or other specialized knowledge will assist the trier of fact to understand the evidence or determine a fact and issue, a witness qualifies as an expert by knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education may testify thereto in the form of an opinion or otherwise. Before I forgot, state wish to be heard in terms of argument, in terms of the
Yes, Your Honor, if the court would mind.
Sure, I don't mind.
Hey, yo, Mark, where you from, bro? You say you from, bro?
Your Honor, so I want to be clear that what we're basing our request to qualify this gentleman as an expert is in the video enhancement, the forensic video enhancement, and we are just referring to that older video. The video is from 2015, so I want to start with that. Additionally, Your Honor, although Mr. Adams correctly stated to Daubert, obviously,
I just turned
and Kumo Tire
what's the case
explains
about?
how we can qualify these experts when they don't have.
It's just a little update, man. Like
it's not that
you know,
straightforward. Here's a GBI witness. Here's what
Gunna
they
and them.
do. Here's a scientific method.
It just really just started, bro. So
Kumo
tune
Tire
in, bro.
provides us an avenue
Did they report
to qualify
before the
experts based on
trial
experience.
started that they were
And this is going to be
recordings?
something that the court's probably going to hear a lot about with our next witness
Mark,
as well.
Georgia.
But
Okay.
basically,
All right.
with experts like
All right,
this,
Mark.
the 11th Circuit, I'd like to point to the 11th Circuit because in Rule 702, obviously this being a new rule to criminal law in Georgia, the legislature has directed us to look to not only the 11th Circuit, but also to all federal courts. But I'll start with the 11th Circuit. United States versus Augustin. That's a 2011 case out of the 11th Circuit, and I can provide all the cites.
Yo,
to the
you
court
from
if the court would
Toledo,
like
Ohio.
me to.
I know it's
in that
cold up
case,
there, bro.
The 11th Circuit said, we note that Federal Rule of Evidence 702 does not define an expert in a narrow sense. And in this case, they were qualifying a gang
Yeah, where
expert.
everybody else from up
And the
here?
court said, in light of the substantial experience that Agent Young had with respect to street gangs, we conclude that the district court was within its discretion in determining that the agent was qualified to give expert testimony. And this is something that happens a lot. The 11th Circuit, and this is another case out of the 11th Circuit, a 2015 case called United States versus Wilson. In United States versus Wilson, the court held that because a Daubert inquiry must be tied to particular facts of the case, the actual Daubert factors, the ones that Mr. Adams referenced, those Daubert factors may or may not be pertinent in assessing reliability depending on the nature of the issue.
Hey, yo, they
the
canceled a lot of flights too, bro,
and the subject of the
to
testimony.
next year.
As such,
They
a
canceled a
district
lot
court
of flights,
maintains the
man.
same kind of latitude in deciding how to test an expert's
Canceled a
reliability
lot
and to
of
decide
flights, bro.
whether or when special briefing or other proceedings are needed to investigate reliability, as it enjoys when it decides whether or not an expert's testimony
That
is
man gonna
reliable.
say free Kelly, man.
Here's
Kelly
what I
gone, bro.
want you to focus on from
Kelly
Mr.
gone,
Moss.
bro.
That is, you're asking me to court to qualify him as a forensic video, an expert in the area of forensic video analysis. He's not certified by a national accrediting body, which is something that there is an entity or an organization that
Kelly
does
gone,
provide
bruh.
certification for that particular type of analysis. He has no annual training, and he hasn't been, his competency hasn't been tested. So the principles and methodology are something that the court has to really kind of look at in this case. He's got 30
Comment
years
what y'all think,
experience,
man.
yes,
Y'all
but
think
there are other
Thug?
things that
I think Thug
Daubert
gone,
requires
bro.
me to look at in terms of a gatekeeping function.
I think
You're
the man
asking me
gone,
to
bro.
qualify him as a forensic
I think it's
examiner.
over. I think it's over
That's
for him.
different. If he had some of those other
think it's
things,
over.
other like certifications, I wouldn't have so much of a problem. Convince me that otherwise, because it looks like from looking at, under Daubert and 702, testimony based on
You
sufficient
done.
facts or data. The testimony is a product of reliable principles and methods.
She
And the
really
witnesses
pushing
applied
for
those
a bow tie.
principles and
Jose.
methods reliably to the facts of the case, which have or will be admitted in evidence before the trier of fact.
Not bow tie Jose.
I have
Bow
great
tie
discretion,
Jose,
of course, and it's abuse of discretion for whatever my ruling is.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm trying to ask you.
I hate to say but honestly, yeah, it's over. Yeah.
Given those
Not looking
issues
good, man.
of not being certified by a national body, which there is one, no annual training, and that's just 3, and then there's no competency or testing. So tell me why I should, I should look to, and I've read Kumo. I know about Kumo. Kumo goes hand in hand. That it for the non-scientific folks, it lets the courts kind of use that gatekeeping function because part of the gatekeeping
Hey,
function, am I citing Wilson
everybody hit
versus
that like,
Brennan
bro. I know I
Construction,
keep saying it, man. I keep having
359
people coming
Georgia
in and out,
Appeals 814. It's a
views going up and down. I just
2021
want everybody to
case.
hit that like, man.
And I have to make this gatekeeping function requires me to act as a gatekeeper to ensure speculative and unreliable opinions don't reach the jury. As a gatekeeper, the court must do a preliminary assessment of the reasoning and methodology underlying the testimony is scientifically valid and of whether that reasoning or methodology can properly be applied to facts in this case.
And
so the trouble I have is you want me to qualify them as forensic. So forensic
Said when old boy Gunna copped out, it was over for him.
Expertise, certification.
I don't know, man.
Peer review.
I don't know. I think
or
Douglas
something
going
to
to
that
take it
effect.
all, take all the charges.
Your Honor,
Everyone got
I
a
was
deal
wondering
with
if
him.
I could amend
Yeah, they
my
trying to get him life,
co-counsel's
bruh.
request. If we could qualify him only in the expert in the very limited field of video enhancement,
I would do that.
that's what we would like to have, Your Honor.
I would do that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Adams, and I'm going to overrule your. I mean, I hear your. I'll hear your issue, but I believe he is.
I don't know, bro. It ain't looking good though.
But forensic, I will not qualify him in that.
You know, for purposes of perfecting the record,
But
Mr. Williams,
if Gunna don't take the stand, would that technically say he wasn't snitching? Was that's not snitching if you don't take the stand, right?
Would apply to whether he's being qualified as a forensic analyst or a video enhancer. And we believe that these statements and the evidence that's been put forth so far do not meet the requirements of Daubert or 702, even under this newly proffered expertise.
Well, I'll of course professionally disagree with you. I think that from the court's listening to his testimony, Mr. Pineda's testimony,
wrong. What you mean? What you mean? What you mean by that?
There is a methodology that he follows, the 4-part division.
And man, he ain't saying nothing.
That certainly he followed that in this particular
case.
What I'm
wrong about?
That'd be helpful to the jury in this particular matter. So he's not. It's different than being a forensic, because then forensic, I should say, video analysis. So I'll respectfully overrule or note your objection for the record.
And ask for continued objection, of course.
All right.
On behalf of Mr. Stillwell, who's directly affected by this evidence as well, we join in Mr. Adams' argument and adopt all of his arguments.
Okay, if you're not, Mr. Harvey did you all a favor yesterday, okay? Unless there's something else, then I'm going to assume that everybody's going to have the same objection or same basis, okay? So
I'm finna put the link in the chat, bro.
Yes, Ms. Sharp.
John, can I just add something?
Sure.
On behalf of Mr. Myra.
Yes.
I understand the court's ruling, but it's still, his methodology has not been tested. And that's the additional thing that I would add. It hasn't been tested, it hasn't been peer reviewed, hasn't been tested. We have no idea whether or not his methodology, the way that he does it.
Under Kumu, did you take a look at Kumu Tire?
I did, Judge.
526 US 137 1999. Okay, and that allows the court to look at other factors for non-scientific, and this is non-scientific. It's more so.
There y'all go. If y'all want to join,
like chemistry, biology,
go ahead and
physics,
join the panel
that kind of thing that
like.
can be tested. That can be that there's either a right or a wrong answer. So I'm required under Kumu to go ahead and at least if I can look at the other factors in terms of the subject matter of his testimony and expertise, reliability. I'll note your objection for the record. Okay.
We said I think Gunna made it hard for everyone in Thug. I agree. See, I asked about the recorders because they were saying that was what they was using to say he was top dog. Yeah, but they threw that out though.
Different domain.
No, you are because you're adding things that haven't been testified to.
He testified that he doesn't know.
Okay, and that goes to weight and sufficiency. In terms of it can go to weight and sufficiency.
It's function. Hold on, bro.
beside that, you're welcome on cross to take him to task on any of that.
But your gatekeeping motion ensures that methods analysis that doesn't follow reliable established standards doesn't get in front of the
I'm gonna
jury.
put it on Facebook. Hold on, bro.
This gentleman, while he's been doing it for a long time, is not following the methodology that's established in this industry. He's using his own method.
The Dauber factors, I'm quoting out of Kumu, Dauber factors do not constitute a definite checklist or test, and a gatekeeping inquiry must be tied to particular facts. So, particular facts are, he enhances, he blows this thing up into divides it into 4 parts.
Hold on one second.
And he can testify about that. You're welcome to go ahead, and he's been doing that for 30 years. And certainly the types of videography has changed over that particular period of time. That's what he's going to testify to. You all certainly, there are issues of weight and credibility that I'm
Y'all
sure
can hear it, right?
I'm
Y'all
sure
can hear
you'll
y'all
go
can hear it,
ahead
right?
and examine him on. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. All right, Mr. Johnson, anything else?
Yes, on behalf of Mr. Evans, with regards to the determination that this is such a scientific matter that it assists the jury, his testimony will assist the jury. He has testified that he uses nothing more than Photoshop, which is a product that is sold to the common public that can be used by anybody. So, understanding that Photoshop does not need to be bolstered by his designation as an expert in this particular case. And also, the fact that he said he's been doing this 30 years should not.
Damn, trying to pin this. There you go.
Which he testified that he only uses maybe twice a month based on those things.
And he's been qualified 50 times in, or actually in DeKalb, Fulton, Cobb, and Gwinnett, so and Fulton. So, all right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you. All right, Mr. Suri, anything, sir?
Yeah, John Studi Chaki, on behalf of Mr. Dorsey.
If y'all want to join, the link is in the
respectfully disagree
comments.
and just saying that as he testified, any layperson could do this. We do have an objection as to him being labeled.
See, I think
an
somebody
expert.
should
It will be
explain to
again
Gunna a state
bolstering.
RICO versus
They can
a
just
federal.
present him as a witness,
There's a
as a
difference.
technician.
What's the difference?
That enhance the video and explain to the jury.
What's the
what he
difference in
actually
snitching,
did.
bro?
Not that he has an expertise in that, and not that it's something any different than their investigator or even an intern could have done. So just wanted to say that, Your Honor, that any layperson could do what he's doing, and that is what distinguishes an expert. Thank you.
Yo, what up, Rakeem?
Ms. Rose,
What's going on, bro?
What about the?
Man, what's your thoughts on this trial, bro?
I mean, Photoshop is. He used Photoshop in this particular case, didn't he?
What's your thoughts on this trial, bro?
Man, I think this shit fucked up.
Mr. Panay, did you use what program or?
You said what now?
And he got a ball. He got a ball spot too.
Photoshop. Yeah. All right. So what's to say that, as
But
Mr.
no, I just
Suri
think
mentioned already
I think it's bad. It's a bad look for
anybody
the
else being
country.
able to use Photoshop?
What up?
Understanding from
I don't need to
Go
designate.
Absolutely. When we went to qualify and we wanted to do this, essentially in a abundance of
wish you
caution,
will, but
where that maybe the jury would want to know how that these were
Somebody
enhanced, and we
echo.
thought that he would be able to explain that based on his years of testimony and experience.
I think that's you, Rakeem.
My understanding is that based on his experience, my understanding
Okay, I wish you will,
the
bro,
answer
but
to the
it's over
question.
with.
It's
when he
over
mentioned
for
that
him.
anyone
Think
could
it's
do
over
this,
with, bro.
It was not only that anyone could use
Why you
Photoshop,
think
but
it's
anyone
over
who
for him?
knows how to use Photoshop
But they
and
said
learns
when
over a
they
period
asked
of
him
years
about
how to
the
enhance
experience
better
of
on
the
it.
camera
But
dude,
should the court
and
wish to
then
find
when
he
she
is only
started off
admissible as a
saying he
lay
got
witness,
years of
we'll put in the
experience
videos
and that,
through him as
that's
a lay
all we
witness.
wanted.
That's fine
That's
too.
enough.
Yeah.
She said that's all we wanted. Stepped off, so she knows she finna book his ass.
Oh man.
Mr. Jimenez, you convinced me.
So-
I
Nigga
believe that
music,
given
though,
the
but
fact
shit.
that this
Hey.
is a readily available program, Photoshop.
Hey, look at him.
Gonna have to tighten up
and
now.
that anybody with
That's
a
the look of
level of
defeat.
skill and practice can do that. I won't qualify him as an expert.
That's
just go ahead and
horrible,
testify as a
man.
I don't
layperson.
think I don't think it's over with though, bro.
Okay.
I don't think it's over
I
with.
mean,
Your Honor,
shit.
we'll call him as a lay witness.
That's
He got the
fine.
money. He just got to put
All
up a hard
Mr.
fight.
Tanea, I'm gonna go ahead and excuse you as a witness. Appreciate your patience with us.
I mean, they already
Uh,
threw out
State will call you, or
the
I guess
phone
we'll
stuff
call
though.
you. You might get a call from Mr.
I mean, he got a chance with that. It's the video
Yes,
thing
over
now.
here, the interpret. But that's a separate issue, okay? And make sure you're patient. All right. So
That's why I
hope
think
that
they're gonna
money
try to
pay
put
off.
him on the
just want to
video.
accept the attorneys in this case, okay?
You say what now?
Thank you, sir.
I mean, what was all on the video anyway?
Right.
I don't know. Like they haven't revealed it to the public though. It don't matter anyway because they threw it all
Councils
out.
and those who are interested, before I take up your next witness, you have the other
No, I'm
witness.
But I'm
saying
saying
they
they
went
keep
to
trying to
with the
they
prosecutor
trying
was
to
like,
they
can
trying
we
to
use that video
testify
footage
to
as
his
what's the name?
credibility as far as
She's like,
what
yeah.
he can do with the
Let's
video,
just pause
like
on
what
him
he
just
can
a
do with the
second.
video and how he can make it clear or how how the video is gonna be presented to the people. So
Right.
my thing is this, like obviously they finna allow whatever if they allow him to get up there and testify the way he do, they finna allow that video into evidence.
Right.
Right.
Do you have your other witness related to Mr. Stillwell's motion to dismiss?
Your Honor, we are not ready on that right now. We can be ready
It's
for
sad
that
when you see a
immediately
group of
after
thug ass niggas
Investigator
telling on
Hall's
each other.
testimony.
How come he's not here? I thought
Hey, you
all said
can't. Hey, you
gonna
can't be
them
gangster and
available.
famous, bro.
We can make him,
Period.
if Your Honor
Nah,
needs
they
Can't be
don't
minutes, I
gangster and
can get
famous,
everybody
bro.
down to do that hearing.
That's
they
fine.
don't
Let
they
me give
don't
it to him.
coincide
I have
together
to,
for
there's
sure.
something else I need to, unrelated court business I have to,
Can't,
I
bro.
need to take up. So let me go ahead and deal with Mr. Stillwell
Can
next,
y'all
and
hear it?
then we'll start
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Hall
All right.
probably this afternoon. But let's go ahead and get Mr. Stillwell done first, okay? So we're going to
I
recess about
appreciate you
15
too, brother,
minutes,
man. Keep up with
and
your craft.
we'll go ahead.
Hey, no
and
problem, man. No problem, man.
Here, Your Honor.
Just want to go live.
Put some lotion on them
hang tight,
elbows.
hang tight.
They need some lotion on them elbows.
Have him come back
Yeah,
for 1
they're
o'clock,
drinking
please,
water.
ma'am.
He
Okay.
chilling.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, we're in recess.
Oh, they finna go to reset.
Yo, this is crazy.
But yeah, Wiley. Is your
Yeah.
name? Yeah. So what's
Yeah.
your thoughts on it again, bro? What you think
I
gonna
really
happen?
think
What's not gonna happen?
I really think if they present them tapes, he gonna be cooked.
He gonna be cooked. What you think is on them tapes?
I could just imagine.
You just imagine.
I could just imagine. He probably saying some shit that's gonna bury him.
Oh man. What about you, Rakeem? What you think? What you
Well, I
think
know
gonna
one
happen? What's
thing.
gonna go on?
I know one thing. He's a witness for the prosecution. So whatever they got on those tapes, it's some type of evidence they gonna be trying to go towards a conviction. The prosecution, they ain't never for the people, no way. So I mean, they for the state.
Yeah.
So regardless of what's on there, I don't care if it's him spraying graffiti before he was even a rapper. Like anything that's gonna be
The issue
able to
involving
showcase
Mr.
what type of individual he was, or what type of outside of the studio or whatever.
Yeah.
It's gonna be some bad. It's gonna be something that's not gonna help him, regardless of what.
Right. Right.
So that's messed up.
So I'm pull it back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully I hope he pull through, honestly. I hope he do.
Yeah.
All right, we ready? Everybody back? Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Love
Bro,
and
just
Mr.
to
Armstrong.
sit there to know that one of your
All
homies
right,
gotta
so
jump
Ms.
on that
Rosenwasser,
bench and
where are
tell
we
on you.
now with
That's
crazy.
devastating.
It's crazy, man. Hey,
the issue
I tell
involving
everybody,
Mr.
man,
Stillwell?
you
Do we
can't
have that
can't
witness?
be gangster and famous at the same time. You can't. You can't.
Okay, what's the name of
It
our
don't
witness?
work.
It don't work, bro.
Deputy District Attorney Michael Strickland.
Like Thug put Gunna on Now
Okay,
it's
all right,
like,
Mr. Sprinkle.
damn.
But now we looking at now you gotta look at the decision
Sure, I
making.
can give
You gotta
testimony in
look
this
at the
case. You
decision
can
making
step
and thumb
outside at this
too,
point in
though, because
time.
at the end of
Please
the
don't
day,
discuss
like
testimony that accept the
there
attorneys in this
is
case.
there's stuff from Gunna's background that say that he was a rep before he even got on.
Yeah, he was
So
already
with
on.
knowing that,
Like,
why would you bring him around and you showing him certain things? Like if you bringing him on for talent, because they do got to make money. So if you bringing him on because you feel like he's talented and that y'all can do some things music wise, I wouldn't do it, but I guess
Is
that's
Mr.
one
Sprinkle
thing.
on his way, or
But you bring him around and you showing him
okay?
to
All
the
right.
guys,
You can
and
summon Mr. Sprinkle, please.
y'all doing all
right.
kind of buffoonery in front of him. And,
Right, it's crazy, bro. Like, I don't know, man. That's why I ain't in the streets, man, because I know if I get caught, I'm telling, because I'm not trying to be in jail. I'm not. I'm telling, bro.
But you can decipher between being a civilian and being a street guy. They act like they don't know the difference.
But let me each ask y'all this. So let's say a guy kills your daughter, right? And y'all proclaimed in the
Your Honor,
streets.
Deputy Sprinkle
Or
is
y'all gonna
coming to this
tell the
courtroom from
police
8F.
who did it?
Erroneously
Or what? How is you
understood us
gonna?
to be
How
there.
you gonna?
My apologies
Rakeem,
to
what
the
would
court.
you do?
Like my kids all I got. So at the end of the day, when it's said and done, like you got to answer for that.
So you gonna go after him, John Wick style? All right. What about you, Wiley?
Saying like I'm just being honest. This is where we come from. I ain't.
Hey,
I'm
can
not
just
a rapper.
respect it, bro. I just gotta respect it, bro.
You
What
know,
about you,
I
Wiley?
ain't no rapper, so I don't.
You gonna go after him, or you gonna tell police that who killed your daughter or your son or whatever?
You're gonna react on to the introduction of this.
Hey, I'm one of them brothers. Shit, you hit me, I gotta hit you back.
So you
So
gonna go after him?
no, I ain't gonna call no police.
Liam Neeson, bruh,
Right.
y'all need to stop the gap, bruh.
I'm
Y'all
dead
need to
ass.
stop the gap, bruh. So you mean to tell me
My
y'all
grandmother
not
rest her soul. You hit one of mine, I
gonna?
gotta hit one of yours.
Going to go into the facts of this case.
Oh my God, bro! I don't know, man.
I
don't know if y'all just
hopefully
gonna
not more than necessary, and I will
So
not
y'all,
try
so
to go
even
anywhere
though, okay,
unnecessarily.
let's say you can't get to him though. So and the police question y'all not gonna y'all not gonna be like
continue. I mean, we have
yeah,
trials.
There's certain ways you can bring a motherfucker out of a hole.
To be using.
So I'm saying, how you not be able to get to somebody?
I've been asked to do that, so this is
if
your
it's a situation,
this is your
I mean, if you
motion.
was right there with
So
you
need
gonna
to
stand there?
use whatever names. Hold on, Mr. Sprinkle, 1 second.
I mean,
1 second,
I'm
Mr.
saying
Sprinkle.
like
Hold on 1 second.
you know of them.
So is that what you're
you know
asking?
they did
I
it.
just don't want to violate
It just they
anyone's
didn't do
court
it. They
orders or
didn't do
get
it
in
in
trouble
front of
for
you.
anything.
You know what I'm saying? Like
and I'm going to do my
you don't know where
best.
they
I mean,
at.
I know people by names.
And the police question you about that.
And
I guess you.
I haven't said otherwise. I mean,
You gonna hunt them down
no,
like
I mean,
Liam
that
Neeson.
was a time period.
Bro, there's certain ways you can bring a motherfucker out the hole. You can find who you're looking for.
We're past that.
Yeah, we're past that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I just don't know, man. I don't know.
Maybe getting some more phone calls. Answer
You,
that for me.
you definitely His find who family. you looking for. I hope for the betterment for his family, man, because he had provided for a lot of people, man. So to be honest with you, I would really hate to see this man lose in that way.
Mr.
Yeah.
Because he is like he created a lot of jobs for people, man.
Mr. Sprinkle?
And no matter what a lot of people think about him, man, like he, when it comes to like charitable things, he's done a lot of charitable things,
to
man.
approach the witness stand, and
Yeah.
Deputy Ingram will be swear you as a witness.
I hope that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Uh-oh. Hold on. You good?
I do.
But yeah, you said what now? What was you saying?
No, I just said he's done a lot of charitable things for people, man. So I just hope that,
Chael,
you know
last
what I'm
name
saying? I hope
Sprinkle,
they don't do him like that, man. 'Cause that'd be horrible.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Deputy Sprinkle. How are
Who
you?
is this dude?
Thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Deputy Sprinkle, would you please tell the court where is it you're currently employed?
I'm currently employed at the Office of the Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney.
And what capacity are you employed there?
I'm a Deputy District Attorney.
How long have you served the Fulton County District Attorney's Office as a Deputy District Attorney?
Since June 21st, 2011.
And when did you first begin with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office?
June 21st, 2011.
What are your, what area do you work in within the District Attorney's Office?
I am the head of the unindicted homicide unit. I review all of the murder cases that come, well, not just murder, all homicide cases that come into the office from the various police agencies in the county.
And you made a distinction between murders and homicides. Why is that?
Well, there's other, it's not just murder, there's felony murder, there's involuntary manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter, homicide by vehicle in the first
Now,
degree.
hear me, how many murders were they trying to link him to?
As the head of the unindicted homicide unit?
Hold on. Why? Hold on.
Before serving as
Where
the
he
head
go?
of the unindicted homicide unit, what did you do within the District Attorney's Office?
For approximately the first 3 months of my employment in the DA's office, I was assigned to what was called at the time the complaint room, which was a 24-hour operation in which I would receive.
Yo, what up, Dante? What's going on?
Cases that were coming in live, essentially. Somebody had just been arrested and the police would send a report. I would review it, speak with the officer, draft some sort of affidavit to summarize the case.
Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, bro.
Ready the case for first appearance the following morning. Following that, I was assigned to the non-complex division. I was in that division for 3 to 6 months. It sounds about right. That involved the prosecution of cases that were deemed non-complex, such as possession of cocaine and theft by taking under a certain value. After my time in the non-complex division, I was assigned to the complex trial division for about a little less than 2 years, signed to Judge Schwall's courtroom and then Judge Constance Russell's courtroom. And then in October of 2013, I was assigned to the unindicted homicide unit, albeit I was not the head of the unindicted homicide unit, though.
Oh, baby,
Memory serves correctly, I was the only attorney in the unit.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose in a way I was the head, given that I was the only one. But then as time went on, the unit expanded. I
wonder how they
promoted,
decide
and
which
now
cases
and now there's
the public has
employees
access
in the
to.
unit. Now I'm the deputy in charge of
That's
it.
a good question.
Within the
That's
homicide
DEA.
unit,
Mark say that's
of the
DEA.
District Attorney's Office, do you receive cases involving homicides?
But that mean they've been
where
building a
persons
case on this man for years then.
charged or
Oh, yeah.
arrested?
Yes.
And is it always?
I mean,
the
this
case that a
let's go
person has
back
been
years though,
charged
bro.
or arrested when you receive a file? with
How
this
far,
office?
bro?
No.
When you do receive a file,
I'm gonna say
where
like
the
maybe
person has
5
been
years,
arrested,
something
do
like
you
that.
immediately present that case to the grand jury?
No.
Why is that?
Look at this motherfucker.
Well, I want to ensure that the person who's been charged or arrested primarily committed the crime that it is alleged they committed. So in order to do that, I inspect the case file, which primarily, if not, well, I don't want to say exclusively, because there are some things that I find on my own. But when I'm preliminarily looking at a case file, I look at what the police have sent me, their reports, their interviews, cell phone records, the extractions of cell phones, when the police actually copy the data out of somebody's cell phone. And I just go over all of this to make sure it's consistent with what has been alleged in the arrest warrants.
And do you always have all of the information within the case file given to you by
Yo, what
the
happened, King?
that you feel you
Man,
need,
I don't know what I called myself trying
in
to share
order
the link.
fully complete the investigation on a
And I don't know. I think it just kicked me off.
No.
Oh, okay. Appreciate that though.
To ensure that you have obtained as much information as you can? Do you, for instance, do you pull jail calls?
Yes.
Do you speak with
That's
witnesses?
crazy. They give you degrees in telling.
Do you go to scenes? Your Honor.
Is it preliminary matter? Is it preliminary matters? I'll allow it. Over your objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you go to scenes?
Yes.
Do you seek search warrants?
Yes.
And do you present evidence to other entities for further testing?
That's just crazy.
And does that always take limited amounts of time, or is that sometimes more protracted
Well, it depends on the case and the volume of deficiencies that I identified in the initial investigation.
Bringing you to the case involving the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Yeah, straight, you can hear it.
Do you recall when you received that case file within the district attorney's office?
Would have been late, probably December 2015, January of 2016, somewhere around there. It's actually probably going to be January of 2016 to be more exact.
And without going into specifics about what that was, at the time that you received that case file, was it complete to your satisfaction as an assistant district attorney?
Well, it depends on how you define the word complete. Was it complete insofar as the Atlanta Police Department was concerned? I don't know. I know that they handed me everything that I asked for. If there were some other documents that the Detective Thorpe still had in his file, they just didn't give to me. I have no way of knowing that. As far as I know, what the Atlanta Police Department gave me was the complete case file.
And did you review that complete case file that you received from the Atlanta Police Department?
I did.
Upon reviewing that case file, were you satisfied that the case was sufficient to present to the grand jury as you received it at that time?
No.
Did you take additional
So now we
steps
got to go back and get some more evidence. That's what he's saying.
Right.
That's what
Exactly.
he said. That's what he said.
Yeah, at least one person had been arrested on the murder.
And that person was the defendant, Shannon Stillwell?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
From what you were able to gather from the file that Detective Thorpe gave you and from your subsequent investigation of the case that you did, was Mr. Stillwell the only person of interest in that case? Was he the only alleged participant in the homicide?
Well, no, there were three other. If we're talking about the people that had been charged by the police, there were four.
Okay, go ahead.
There was Antonio Sledge, Demikian Garlington, Kenneth Copeland, and Shannon Jackson, aka Shannon Stillwell. Those were the four people that the police charged for the murder of Donovan Thomas in late 2015.
And were you able to determine, based on your review?
What's your thoughts, King? What you think going on now? Just by seeing what's going on right here.
They were
He on
primarily
point.
based
He know everybody's
on the
name and
statement
everybody
of a
age.
young man named Spencer Wright.
It's crazy, man.
And
He know everybody's name and everybody age.
did you endeavor to speak with Spencer Wright yourself?
I did.
Why is that?
Well, so Spencer Wright, according to his statement, he witnessed the homicide, the drive-by shooting, as he stood at a bus stop on McDaniel Street across the street from the barber shop, the parking lot of which Mr. Donovan Thomas stood when he suffered his fatal gunshot wounds. There was a surveillance camera mounted on that barber shop, and the bus stop where Mr. Wright said he stood was in the viewing area of that surveillance camera. And when I looked at the footage, I didn't see anyone standing at the bus stop. I saw a cat at one point milling about the bench at the bus stop, and I only bring that up to indicate that the clarity was sufficient to tell if there was a human being standing there. There was no human being standing there. So what I wanted to do was speak with Mr. Wright and show him. I believe I printed off some still images. I don't think I brought in a computer or something to show him the actual footage. So I wanted to speak with Mr. Wright and make sure. First thing I did is I wanted to speak with him and make sure that I was clear as to where he was standing. So I actually, before I confronted him with the fact that I didn't see him on the video, I had some printouts from Google Earth, and I asked him to point to the specific bus stop where he said he was standing. And when he did, he pointed to the bus stop that was depicted on the surveillance footage, at which point I said,
That's how they set
there's
you
nobody
up.
standing at that bus stop.
Yeah.
And I was,
Yo, if y'all want to join, hit the link in the
Did you receive
description.
that
Make sure y'all hit the like
from the
button.
Atlanta Police
What'd you
Department?
say?
Yeah, yes.
Did you?
No,
did
he
you
was-
say that you
King.
pulled
He was
Google Earth
saying-
images?
He was
that
saying
something
that he
you
brought
had
in
received
some still
from the police
pictures,
department, or is that
and he
something that you did
asked
in your investigation?
he asked
That
the
was
dude
something I did
where
to
he was
aid
standing
my
at.
interview with Mr. Wright. I just pulled up Google Earth and took screenshots of the bus stop
The
and
fact
the
that
general area where the
We
homicide
had a video,
occurred, so he
and he
could
wasn't on that
point
video
to them
standing in that spot where he said
indicate
he
where he
was.
stood,
Right.
where he claimed to have been standing, I should say.
And why did it concern you that he was not shown in the surveillance footage that you presented to him, yet he claimed to have witnessed the homicide?
Well, he claimed that the bus stop was his vantage point from which he witnessed the 4 defendants that I mentioned earlier occupying a vehicle and commit
Mark
the
says,
drive-by
I think
shooting. If he
after
wasn't
this,
standing at
more
the bus
people are
stop, that would
going to
suggest
get
he didn't
locked
witness
up.
it at all.
Yeah, facts. Facts. Facts, bro.
Was there anything else that you were able to uncover during your ensuing investigation of this case that enlightened you more as to whether or not Mr. Wright was presenting to you information that was factually accurate?
Yes. So after my interview with him, I requested from the Atlanta City Jail, because that's where he was when I interviewed him. I interviewed him inside the Atlanta City Jail. He was an inmate there. From somebody that worked at the Atlanta City Jail, whose name I don't recall. But I asked him to send me Mr. Wright's recorded jail calls, because just like the Fulton County Jail, at least at that time, the phone calls placed by inmates from the Atlanta City Jail were recorded. So when I obtained Mr. Wright's jail calls, I found one that was placed shortly after his arrest to a gentleman. And during this call, and this is, by the way, not verbatim. Okay. I'm not quoting him exactly, but he told his friend about his recent arrest, which I believe was on a probation violation. And he said that everything would be okay because he was helping the police solve a murder. And his friend asked, well, what murder was that? He said Nuts murder. And that Nut would be the moniker for Donovan Thomas. And his friend scoffed at him and said, but you didn't witness that. And
shit.
Mr. Wright responded, he basically shushed him, reminding him that they were on a recorded jail line. But the implication there was that he didn't witness it. And he would prefer that his friend not, utter such a thing on a recorded jail phone. And then he said, but it's something to the effect of, it doesn't matter. We all know what happened anyway. And it's also worth mentioning that during my interview with Mr. Wright, very soon into the interview, something that caught my attention was, he said, you see, I've been on Instagram, or again, not verbatim, but he mentioned that he had been on Instagram and putting the pieces together from there, which put up a red flag, made me think that perhaps he was just compiling his statement through rumors that he saw on the internet. So after I heard that jail call, I asked investigator David White. I knew who he was talking to. I can't recall his name off the top of my head, but the gentleman that he was talking to, and the same gentleman that said, but you didn't witness that, et cetera. So my investigator reached out to him and asked him, well, how did you know that Mr. Wright didn't witness the murder of Donovan Thomas? And he said, well, that murder was a really big deal in the city, and I'm pretty close with Mr. Wright. He never mentioned to me that he had witnessed it. And it's the kind of thing that he would have mentioned had he witnessed it. So at that point, I was satisfied that Mr. Wright didn't really witness the murder at all, and he just made it up.
Why didn't you just go ahead and present information to the grand jury?
I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say.
People had been arrested. Isn't it apparent that you immediately
a tire cut or something like that from a prior case, or who's made just trying to get somebody jammed up? No, I was saying that he had.
You can rephrase it.
You can rephrase it.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr.
He
Sprinkle,
seen that murder, or
is there any reason in particular
or was he just trying to get somebody
basically
jammed up?
saying like
to the grand jury?
he basically said he just caught him up in a lie.
That had
Really?
been given to you from the police department.
Well, for one thing, I'm not the one who decides what cases are presented to the grand jury, but if I was, I still wouldn't, because at that point, out of 3 of the 4 defendants, I had a complete absence of evidence that they committed the murder at all, and I wouldn't present.
So that's why I was trying to figure out what
specific individual. I wouldn't present indictment to a grand jury.
And then he went to them and tried to say that he's saying this murder to get out of the
total
case.
absence of evidence that they actually committed the crime. That would actually violate state bar rules for me to do that.
Right.
And Your Honor, if the court would, just so that I'm aware, is there any other party to this defendant Stillwell's motion to dismiss that I'm unaware of?
I have not, the court is unaware of anybody else who's joined in this particular issue.
Okay.
So.
I'd like to answer that, Ms. Dorsey. The state keeps saying that because this is RICO, everything applies to everything. I have adopted the motions of everybody, so I do reserve the right to ask some questions of the witness, Your Honor. But based on the theory that the state says that because it's RICO, everything applies to my client. I do want to make it very clear. I can have nothing to do with this.
Your Honor, this is Shannon Stillwell's assertion of his constitutional right to a speedy trial. I do not believe that Mr. Chadha or his client have any right to assert as it relates to Shannon Stillwell's assertion of his right or the denial thereof to a speedy trial.
That man trying to get a speedy trial, man.
Questioning and argument and
Yeah, because
commentary to
that put pressure on the prosecutor.
As it relates to
So
Right.
like all the evidence got to be together. When you ask for that fast and speedy trial,
However, he's a part of the
now they got to try to scramble.
Yeah,
A lot of times they
the
don't
issue
be
you're
ready.
gonna have is that since it's
Right.
a RICO case and anything can be attributed to any other defendant, that's why that they have a right of confrontation as to this. Now, so the specific relief is only available to Mr. Stillwell, but counsel are entitled to ask other questions as they see fit.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may, just to be clear, I'm Mr. Williams.
It's kind of smart though, in a sense though.
The outcome and the
Yeah,
argument of this
because
motion.
like it's a lot of work to prepare for a trial.
Court has indicated because
Right.
of the RICO indictment, Mr. Williams
With
is
that being said,
he
it's
has an
like
interest and an ability to pose objections.
Then the judge throwing out
put
shit.
yeah, because you put the prosecutor in a position where they got to be like, okay, hold on. Let me pull all this evidence together and, try to get these statements and try to do this and try to do that. And they end up missing a lot of stuff.
Determined that the information that you had been given was inaccurate or could not be verified. Did you take additional steps to investigate the homicide, the murder of Donovan Thomas?
I did.
And would you tell the court whether or not this was a sort of high-profile case within the office?
It was.
And are you able to say what impact the case itself had on the office or on the city of Atlanta that caused it to be?
The mother said objection.
Irrelevant. What does high profile case have to do with anything?
All right.
I'll respond.
Why don't you explain that before I rule?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the reason that I asked about it being a high-profile case is to sort of lay the groundwork for the fact that the office did not seek to not investigate or to not make sure that we got the case right. By asking whether it was a high-profile case, it's to bring out to the court the mindset with which Deputy Sprinkle investigated it.
Okay, I'm going to overrule your objection. Go ahead, man.
I just want to
Thank you, Your
be
Honor.
clear.
I've overruled your objection.
He said he overruled that motherfucker.
Did that murder carry with it a series of violent shootings within the city of Atlanta?
Yes, for many years following that.
Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody watching. You want to join? The link is in the description. You can come up here and talk about the trial with us.
Within the city of Atlanta.
Appreciate that, everybody.
Days, sometimes weeks and months.
Objection, relevance.
I have
There's multiple shootings going on in the paper.
I'm going to overrule. Let her finish, okay? And then I'll okay? All right, go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. Were there multiple shootings within the city of Atlanta?
Yeah.
Objection on the relevance.
Comment and let me know what y'all thoughts on the trial too.
Why don't you ask him what happened as a result of that, if he knows, if any?
After the murder of Donovan Thomas, and let me back up. Were there any gang implications to the investigation? In other words, during your investigation and during your initial review of the file, was there any indication from the information that you had within the file that the murder was gang related?
Yes.
And What gangs were alleged to have been involved?
Englewood family. That was the gang to which Mr.
I've hit the
Donovan
like
Thomas
button and
was a
grace
member,
you with your
high-ranking member,
with my presence. You're
and
welcome.
the other gang
Man, get
was
the hell out
YSL,
of
or
here,
Young
bro.
Slime Life, to which Mr. Williams was a member.
Did you gain knowledge?
I'm gonna object to that answer. Speculation, and after to be stricken.
I'm gonna.
What's going on in your thoughts right
What's your
now, Rakeem? What you think?
Legal conclusion.
Man,
Criminal street gang is a
so they asking about the,
legally defined term.
they asking about whatever, whatever members was around or whatever.
That may be.
They asking about labels on these gangs. So they just brought up, they just said some name that I ain't never heard of. I kind of been followed a little bit.
Yeah.
Not super heavy, but I ain't never even heard of this name that they just brought up.
Not illegal.
I'm still gonna overrule.
You breaking up, Rakeem?
Thank you.
Well, I said it's kind of heavy, man. I know. Somebody had commented and said like it's gonna be a lot more people getting locked up. They bringing up different names and different groups. Like it's gonna end up being real bad.
Took place across the city of Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna object because it calls for.
I don't think this is gonna be the last of the DA trying to crack down
the
on
defendant, Shannon Stillwell, has alleged an intentional delay on the part of the
artists
state.
in the city,
What
but the
led us
Lucci and
to
Thug
further our
thing, it was
investigation
going
and what
crazy.
information we had?
Goes to conduct.
Yes,
All right, I must overrule the objection.
thank you, Don.
Okay.
Did you have information that led you to believe that a series of retaliatory shootings between YSL and Inglewood family?
So you think they're gonna try to make an example out of that?
Yeah.
Yes, there
Just
were
like
cases where
Tory.
the victims were
Just like
identified
Tory,
as
bro.
YSL or Englewood family,
I ain't gonna lie,
and the
that kinda
shooters were
blew me.
also identified
That
as
case
YSL or
kinda blew
Englewood
my
family,
mind
and
a little
commonly
Yeah,
the
man,
shooters would
that's
generally
crazy.
be in the rival gang. I don't want to say there were no cases that involved the same
That
members
trial
of the same gang
crazy.
shooting at each other, but primarily it was opposing gangs that were shooting at each other. The participants that were identified were opposing gangs. Those two gangs specifically, yes.
And during that time, did you and the Fulton County District Attorney's Office gang unit work closely with the Atlanta Police Department in an effort to solve the murder of Donovan Thomas, as well as find out whether or not those series of shootings were related, in fact, to the murder of Donovan?
The gang unit, the office's gang unit, I believe they were in consultation with Detective Thorpe, but I don't recall speaking with Detective Thorpe prior to him obtaining warrants for the arrest of the four men that he originally charged.
And that is before the arrest of the persons that were originally charged. I'm speaking of during the months in the year 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
Did you obtain more information that led you to believe that the murder of Donovan Thomas was gang related?
Right. Well, yeah, I would routinely consult with Detective Tyrone Dennis with the Atlanta Police Department. He also worked very, very closely on the murder case and alongside Detective Jim Thorpe Jr.
And were there incidents, shooting incidents that took place, and other incidents that took place that involved members of the alleged offending gang or YSL?
Yes, either, as I said, the victim was identified as being in one gang or the other. The shooters are identified as being in the opposite gang. There were shell casings that, when placed under microscopes and the tool mark on the back of the casing was compared to various incidents, they would find that similar guns, or the same guns, I should say, were used in these various incidents, which could possibly indicate that.
And all I'm gonna say is, if you're gonna commit a crime, you got to be smarter. Like, you just can't just do a crime. Like, you got to make sure there ain't no evidence around.
In order
None of
to
that.
outline the investigation that you conducted in this
It's all
case
about
between the
it's all
time
about
that you
emotion, man. A
received
lot
it
of these
and
a
November
lot of these
13,
younger guys, man, they acting off emotion, and
I am
it's
showing to you
more
what
than
has been marked as
like nobody's
State's
using
Exhibit
their
1.
head no more.
Right.
Ms. Love, we're gonna just use the next exhibit in order. So what's that, Ms. Rosenwasser?
11. Would the court like for me to then label it State's Exhibit?
States 11, yes, ma'am, if you wouldn't mind, please.
I sure will. I'm showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit.
But yeah, me personally, I think Thug just need to go ahead and
Would you take a look at it?
you
In
know,
your honor, I will.
what I think actually gonna happen is he gonna get some time.
Tendering of this
but
exhibit as the court allow me.
I think it's not gonna be as much as we think it's gonna be. I think he's gonna get like maybe like 10 years. And the time he already ran, and he might get probation in 7.
Under seal.
You know, so
Okay. Yes, I
think it's gonna end up like that.
11.
The State's Exhibit 11.
They were sloppy. Yeah, exactly, Mark.
The
I think all criminals,
Absolutely.
majority of
outlining
criminals
and
are
detailing
sloppy.
The investigation that
I'm not advocating
until November
for
13th
people
of
to go out and
2018.
commit crimes, but I'm saying if
It
you're gonna do a
does,
crime,
but as you
like
can see, I brought a copy of
on,
my
bro.
report to the stand with me anyway, and it looks like there may be.
appreciate
a
everybody
page
watching.
missing
Y'all make sure
from
y'all
this
hit
one
that
because
like
my
button. If
report
you want to
has,
join the panel,
a
the link
page
is
only
in
has about
the
2 sentences on it, so
comment
this may be a
section.
page short, basically.
And
If you want to just, Sudi shot on the other story, please be provided a copy of the report that he.
Oh, never mind. There it is. Yeah. Okay.
If it was, or
Appreciate everybody watching from my Facebook, my
he would be
YouTube,
entitled to,
my
he'd be required
Twitter,
to update
everywhere.
that
Appreciate
particular
it.
as part of continuing discovery. So to the extent, Ms. Love, you have not done that, go ahead and do so, okay?
thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Deputy Sprinkle, would you please clarify for the court whether or
Mark
not
G said
the
Thug
page
will
you
get
were
15 to
referencing
10
is
years.
contained
We'll
within
do 8.
State's
Yeah, that's what I just
Exhibit
said.
It is. You just turn the page over. It turns out I guess it was facing the wrong way. So no, that's my full report.
Thank you. Your Honor, the state, tender State's Exhibit 11, and with the court's permission, I would like to enter evidence digitally under seal.
Okay, so Brandon,
Your Honor, I object.
And Your Honor,
basis, is this part of the order that I entered before?
No, it's not.
Why do you want to enter it under seal, madam?
only because it contains information, personal information about witnesses. The defense has been provided this report on August 8th, I believe, 2022, in its entirety. I am happy to let defense counsel look at it, review it, and compare it to their copy of the discovery that has been previously served.
Okay.
My issue is not with under seal per se.
Is she the
I'm
lead
gonna seal it then,
prosecutor?
okay?
What-
All right.
no, it's
Yeah.
not of that. My issue is admitting, we're having a.
Well, okay. No, but you've made it an issue for the purposes of your speedy trial demand. So they're introducing as part of what they, as if I understand it, given the factors, is that what they did and the reason for the delay. Is that what you're doing, Ms. Love?
Yes.
So I mean, so that's why they're introducing it for that limited purpose. So
With all due respect, Your Honor, he can testify to what he did.
he just did, but in terms of if the case goes up on appeal, then of course the appellate court will have an opportunity to take a look at it.
For the record, I'd just like to say that there's a lot more in that report than what.
Man, he said the appellate court. You say the appellate court go get a chance to look at it. Oh man.
This hearing, which is essentially what we're doing.
Well, you got live testimony because you haven't even examined Mr. Sprinkle yet. So you certainly will be able to do that. But I'm going to admit it and seal it over your objection to States 11, okay? And you'll be able to get with Ms. Love and her colleagues and take a look at it, the original, the discovery that you were provided back in August in relation to this particular document. And the state will need to, of course, disclose or lets you give you that particular evidence, anything discovery they haven't done so far, okay?
And we will be able to cross-examine Mr. Sprinkle on all of the contents of that document that's being admitted into evidence. But I want to make sure we're able to do it.
If they're introducing in the evidence, yeah, you get to cross them about anything you want in terms of that particular document.
Thank you, Your Honor.
He look like, man,
Deputy Sprinkle,
he tired of this bullshit.
did your investigation into the murder of Donovan Thomas ceased entirely as of November 13th, 2018.
No, it didn't.
Would you just briefly encapsulate some of the additional investigations that you participated in or conducted between 2018 and May 2021?
Okay, so in 2019, there were at least 2 gang-related murders that involved the YSL Street Gang and the Inglewood Family Street Gang. One was a February 23rd, 2019 murder involving a victim named Jamari Holmes and some YSL gang members named Damone Blaylock and Rebellious Ryan. I did a lot of work on that case. But for purposes of this hearing, I did a search warrant to Instagram for, I believe it was 4 or 5 accounts belonging to YSL gang members. Now, the reason why that search warrant was for the accounts of the people who were participants in the February 23rd,
I'm telling you,
2019
man,
murder of Jamari Holmes, of course.
Instagram, social media.
The search warrant that I did for concerning either one of those gangs, the murder of Donovan Thomas was always
can't be a criminal on
really
social
stay
media
on the
neither,
front of my
man.
mind, because that
I be preaching it.
it was the murder of Donovan Thomas that was essentially the primary genesis of the dispute between these 2 gangs that had claimed the lives of so many people and wounded countless others. So
Mark
always
says social media is the devil.
Any case,
I mean, it's a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse.
Right.
I
mean, it's most definitely an
investigation that you
outlet.
continue to conduct
But
the murder of Donovan Thomas
can't
and why it is
can't be playing in the streets and then hop on Instagram with it.
That investigation. If again, the state's intent is at issue, Mr. Sprinkle's steps taken during the investigation are reflective of the state's intent.
Okay. I'll overrule your objection, sir.
They ejecting everything.
What is it you want to tell me? I mean, I've overruled the objection, so what more do you want me to know?
The state just proffered evidence, and I don't think that's correct, Your Honor.
Well, then cross-examine him when you got him on cross.
I understand.
So you're a little, you're a little early, okay? When you got him on cross, you can ask him these questions that you're not allowing them to answer right now. But it's relevant for the purposes of delay and the reason for delay. So can we move on from that? Okay.
Oh, got a little sassy.
In May 2021, was the case involving the murder of Donovan Thomas turned over to a specific team in the district attorney's office as part of a broader investigation?
it was.
All right, and who was it turned over to?
Don Geary was the primary attorney on the case.
And is that case, or did that case form the basis for the indictment that the defendant sits on today, charged with both the murder of Donovan Thomas and the murder of Shamel Drees?
Yes, yes, it is, because I at that
People
point
get
was
murdered left and
consulting
right, bro.
with my coworkers and recommending that we pursue an indictment on the murder case. At which point,
If the lawyer's trying to buy time, what you think about that,
Rakeem? Should be
Rakeem?
assembled because this case was encompassed a lot more than just the murder of Donovan Thomas. So at that point, my case file was handed, but that was the first step, was my investigation into the murder of Donovan Thomas, and then I wasn't working very closely with them. I would of course answer their questions, of which they had many when they had them, but I wasn't in a room working with them on a daily basis. But
Yeah.
from what I understood and what would eventually see when the indictment came out, was they were working on this vast RICO case.
And are you aware of a wiretap being used to gain information in furtherance of the investigation of this RICO case that you referenced just now?
Yeah, I drafted all the documents associated with it and performed the minimization procedures and reviewed the periodically would spot review the work of the monitors.
And was that in April 2022?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. April 2022, I think towards the end of that month, yes.
And did the investigation that took place between the time that you were given the file by Detective Thorpe and the time that this case was initially
No
presented to the
wiretap.
grand jury, form the basis for the indictment 22 SC 183572?
Yes.
Thank you. Just one moment, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. If y'all want to join the panel, click that link in the description. Come up here and tell me your thoughts on the trial and everything and whatnot. Sound like somebody
Between
cutting hair
November
up in there.
2018 and May 2021, did you work with any other prosecutors on this case or on the investigation involving the murder of Donovan Thomas?
Well,
Did you at any time work with Deputy Kiera Convery?
oh, yes. Deputy Kara Convery and I spoke about this case and exchanged information on a regular basis throughout the entirety of the investigation.
And where did Deputy Kiera Convery work within the district attorney's office?
She was the head of the gang unit. I don't recall which year. I know Gabe Banks was the head right when the case came in. I believe you were the head of the gang unit at some point, and then Kara Convery.
I know, right?
2019, she was the head of the gang unit.
Was there ever a time, Deputy Sprinkle, that you delayed this case to get a tactical advantage over the defendant, Shannon Stillwell?
No, I didn't want to delay the case at all.
And was this a case of average complexity?
No, this is an extremely complex case.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's very complex.
All right, Mr.
I'm
Sharp,
sure it
go ahead,
is.
sir.
Very. I think after him they're gonna go to recess.
Mr. Sprinkle, how are you doing today?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. As I understand it, your role in the DA's office is you receive a case file from APD.
Well, many times, most of the time actually from APD, but there are other agencies in Fulton County, of course.
And you work on that case file and bring it up, build it up for indictment if you feel that is warranted.
Correct.
Okay. But you did tell us that you are not the person who decides when to indict the case.
That's correct.
Who is that person?
Well, back in 2015, 2016?
Yes.
That would have been the district attorney, Paul Howard.
That was Mr. Howard back in 2015 and 2016. Okay. How long did Mr. Howard have that decision-making power on when Shannon Stillwell would be indicted on the 2015 case?
Well, presumably all the way up until the last day of 2020. I believe that was the last day he was in office. I could be wrong about that, but it would have definitely been around that time.
And who took over that decision-making power in 2020?
The current DA, Bonnie Willis, and her agents, people like myself and Adam Body and Pat Dutcher.
Man, I don't care. If I'm on trial, I'm snitching,
So
bruh.
when
I ain't built for that lifestyle,
asked
man.
If you delayed the indictment to get a tactical advantage on Shannon Stillwell,
Them boys up there looking
On that
depressed.
heat. If you don't want
That is
that
correct.
heat, stay at the
That
kitchen.
is correct.
that
I
question
feel like they've been
about
watching these boys
choosing
for a long
when
time.
to
They
indict
have.
from
What
2015
you gonna say
to
to that,
2020 should be asked of Paul Howard.
Nah, I say
Correct.
them boys up there looking depressed. They looking defeated.
The question about whether or not the decision to indict should have been left to Paul Howard is not proper. It does not speak to Deputy Sprinkle's actions and steps that he took during this investigation in order to make sure that it was thoroughly vetted.
They tried to create the impression that Mr. Sprinkle's the one that called the shots, and he's clearly not. And now that I've asked him about it, and it's clear he didn't, now it's irrelevant. They asked him if he delayed the indictment of Shannon Stillwell. I'm saying it was delayed, and my client has been prejudiced, and I want to hear from the person who made that decision.
Well, it's one factor that I'll weigh, Mr. Shart, so go ahead and move on. So we've had another issue going since then, and
basically the judge like, I don't want to hear it. Just keep it going.
His response might be, I'm assuming,
pretty much.
Certainly has to be looked at in terms of.
If you remember when they asked him about him, when they asked him about the case initially, he was like, "No, I just didn't feel like the evidence."
Starting in 2020, the decision making was DA Fannie Willis.
2021, yes.
2021. All right. Okay. When was Shannon Stillwell charged in this case?
I believe it was September of 2015.
Okay. If I suggested that was October 2015, would you dispute me on that?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. And would you dispute that he was arrested in October of 2015?
I'm quite sure it would have been around that time, the last quarter of 2015. Based on when I received the case file, that would be in line with that.
And he was placed in jail?
He was.
Okay. Now, my client, Mr. Stillwell, was charged in 2015, October 2015. Who else did you say was charged at that time?
Antonio Sledge, briefly, because his case was dismissed at the preliminary hearing.
Okay.
Kenneth Copeland and Demikian Garlington.
And that's the same Kenneth Copeland that is on the state's witness list?
Yes.
Okay. And it was Detective Thorpe of APD that made the decision to charge my client, Mr. Stillwell?
Yes.
And it was Detective Thorpe of APD who made the decision to charge Mr. Sutherland.
Hey, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button.
Mr. Garlington?
Mr. Copeland, Mr. Garlington, I believe.
Once again, if you want to join, hit the link in the comments and give me your thoughts on the trial that's going on.
And you're telling us that the decision to charge those 4 individuals was based on the word of Spencer Wright?
Well, for 3 out of 4 of them, if my memory serves correctly, it was essentially entirely based on Spencer Wright. Your client, there was a little bit more evidence.
And we're going to get to that, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
Young Thug said take it to trial. Shit.
Well, for all 4,
yeah, no
a
choice.
man named Spencer Wright
claimed
to be at the
either
scene
18 one way or
of the
20 the
murder
other way, so you might as well go.
and named
You might as well
people
go ahead
being
and fight.
involved.
That's yes.
And when Spencer Wright, are you aware of the circumstances that brought Spencer Wright into contact with Detective Thorpe to tell Detective Thorpe this?
Generally, yes.
Did Spencer Wright have pending charges?
Spencer Wright had been, if my memory serves correctly, I know that he didn't just show up to the precinct out of the goodness of his heart. He had been pulled over, if I remember correctly. During the traffic stop, he threw a gun away in the bathroom at the gas station. He lied about his name, and there was an investigator, Lakia Gaither, just happened to recognize him and reminded him of what his name actually was. So he was, so he had a firearm, and I believe he had a probation violation warrant. So he was taken into custody contemporaneously with his statement.
And so we're clear, you wouldn't dispute that Spencer Wright had a motive to lie?
Yes.
That would be correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Spencer Wright actually came in at the same time that he named these 4 individuals as being involved in this murder and gave police a false name?
He did at first, and one of them, like I said, just happened to know him. And this is all from memory, but I'm pretty sure this is correct.
So he lied about his name?
He did.
And the police knew this?
Yes, they did.
And they took his word on who to arrest on a murder?
That's what happened, yes.
No matter what, we want it no matter what.
In through your investigation, you would agree that 3 of the 4 defendants in this case have changed since then regarding the 2015 shooting.
3 out of the 4, okay, so first of all, what do you mean by change? Which 3 defendants are we
There
talking
was
about?
4 people that were charged in October of 2015 by Detective Thorpe. 3 of those 4 people are no longer charged.
Oh, I understand. In other words, we ultimately indict a different set of people than were ultimately charged by the police. Is that your question?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. We did indict Shannon Stillwell, aka Shannon Jackson, who's your client, but we did not charge Mr. Copeland, Mr. Garlington, or Mr. Sledge for the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Well, let's be clear. They were charged.
They were charged by the police, yes.
And they were arrested and put in jail.
They were, yes.
Based on the word of Spencer Wright.
That is correct.
Once again, I appreciate everybody joining me. Joining me on this live stream. Appreciate everybody watching. Make sure y'all share.
In those 3 people's place that were eventually released, 3 new people have been charged.
That's well, 4 people actually, but yes.
Okay. 3 new people and Mr. Stillwell.
Yes.
So essentially what we're saying in layman's terms is Detective Thorpe added 250.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance and just unnecessary. Detective Thorpe batted 250.
I'm a sustaining objection.
There you go.
So you have your report, correct?
I do.
All right. And your report is approximately 100 pages long?
140, I believe.
140. Okay. And you began working in January of 2016?
That's correct, yes.
And on page 2 of those 140, well, let me back up. I'm sorry. Almost the first order of business in this report is your concerns about Spencer Wright.
Correct. That is how my investigation began.
Because you were doing a thorough investigation and you looked at the video and noticed the man who was saying he witnessed the event was not where he said it was.
Correct.
And so your report, this 140-page report, begins with discussion of the video and Spencer Wright.
Yes. Man.
On page 2 of the report, in the first paragraph, you talk about Detective Thorpe finding probable cause for these 4 individuals that are originally charged.
Yes.
And then you say, Kenneth Copeland, Demikian Garlington, and Antonio Sledge, or I'm sorry, you say Copeland, Garlington, and Sledge consisted almost entirely of the statement of Mr. Spencer Wright, correct?
Correct.
All right. You went on to say, with respect to Mr. Jackson, Mr. Wright also implicated him in the statement summarized below. However, there was another witness.
You got any thoughts on the video of Rakeem
that
as of
also
right now?
implicated Mr. Jackson?
That is correct.
Okay.
You said on the what?
On
I
page
say,
2
you
of
got
the
any
report,
thoughts on what's going on right now?
You were saying that there was an additional witness against, when I said Mr. Jackson.
I'm just thinking right now he's trying to.
Mr. Stillwell.
Yeah, back then
He's trying to get these.
That's why I'd say Shan Jackson, aka Shan Stillwell, or vice
He's trying to
versa.
get these names to They trying to get these names out, and they trying to make sure that they land they little groundwork. But I'm trying to figure out why is their trials together.
As the investigator, they
Right.
did not have the same
If Dole asked for a fast and speedy trial, why they got
concerns
Thug there
about
for his
Mr.
trial?
Jackson's
Right.
case or Mr. Stillwell's case than you did with the other
I
three
think
defendants. Witness testimony, correct?
I don't know. I think
I mean, I at least have
just
some
those
evidence that he
three
committed the
in
murder.
specific
Yes.
are charged with
And-
the
and
murder.
Just to be
I
clear,
think that's what's going
in
on.
January 2016, when you're working on this
I
case
think
and
that's
throughout
what-
your investigation,
But I mean, they are it's like a whole bunch of people
Sheriff
being charged and
Stillwell
stuff. But
is
I think
still
they on
presumed
trial for the
innocent
murder right now.
in jail.
Okay,
He
so
was in
the
jail
three
for
people
about
that's in there right now,
250 days, I believe,
these
on the
are the
murder
people that's been
charge
charged with
before
that
he was transferred,
specific
I want to say,
murder
to
that was
the
supposed
Department
to,
of Corrections
that
on
was
unrelated
allegedly
matter.
supposed to be
But yes,
there.
he was in jail, yes.
And he didn't bond out on this case until on the 2015 case until October of 2018, isn't that true?
I recall, if I remember correctly, he was booked into the jail on October 23rd and made bond the next day because he had obviously gotten a bond long before then because he had been in jail over 90 days on the murder.
Right, but he was in jail for 3 years.
On the murder?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe he was jailed for 3 years. I believe he was in jail for about 250 days on the
Okay,
murder.
well, we'll say 250 days. I mean, that's a substantial amount of time, correct?
Legally, it's subjective as to what's substantial.
Okay, well, you wouldn't want an innocent man locked in jail for that long.
Objection, argumentative.
Status to form.
Thank you, Judge.
Stain it.
Okay, are you an ethical prosecutor?
Yes.
And for the record, I believe Mr. Sprinkle is. Okay. If you felt that there was no case against Mr. Stillwell like you thought about the others, you would presumably have done something to get his release, correct?
Right. What I would have done is I would have told his defense attorneys that essentially there was no evidence, which is what I did with the other co-defendants. So,
okay.
Right. But with Mr. Stillwell, the absence of evidence wasn't quite as stark.
Okay. And so you didn't take any proactive steps to seek the release of Mr. Stillwell like you did the others?
No.
Somebody got to go down for it. That's what he's saying.
Right. Exactly.
Somebody got to go down for it. That's what he's saying.
Exactly.
The workings of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office.
Pretty familiar. I've been working there for over a decade. So,
how long has the Fulton County District Attorney's Office been investigating YSL?
I can't speak to what the gang unit was doing at around this time. They were in a section of the office to which I didn't have access. Now, if I knocked on the door, if they were there, they would generally let me in. But I didn't just have unfettered access to their area such that I could wander in at any given point. So they were by design closed off from the rest of the office.
Certainly you were aware generally of whether there was as you were working this Donovan Thomas case, whether there was an active investigation of YSL.
Yes, there was. And so to answer your question, to the best of my knowledge, as far as I knew, or as far as I can remember, the investigation into YSL really started with the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Okay, so 2015.
Yeah, they got tired of a bunch of stuff going on in the city.
Investigations into Jeffrey Williams.
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
I'm alleging that this has been a strategic
But then
decision
if you go back and
withhold
you look at some of the other
prosecution of
some of
Shannon
the other
Stillwell,
stuff
who they
on
claim to
social
have had a
media
case with,
from
or
a few
against,
years
a
back,
solid case against
like,
since
people
2015.
was pretty much pleased,
And I
like,
wanna
y'all
know
need to
why
do something.
they waited 8
Y'all
years
need to
bring
figure
this
this out.
case.
Why don't you ask him?
Well, I want to know.
People is
what-
getting killed. You got innocent people getting killed.
Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead and ask
You
him.
know what I'm saying? That's
Please.
getting caught in the crossfire, these shootouts.
To your
and
knowledge,
this and
how
that.
long have you had an investigation ongoing, when I say you, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, against Jeffrey Williams?
For me personally, it would have been around I want to say April of 2016 when I found out that he rented the car that was utilized in the drive-by shooting.
What about, not you personally, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office?
That I can't answer. As
Are
far
you
as I know,
serious?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. If there were any other investigations regarding Mr. Jeffrey Williams, I don't know about them.
Well, could you answer if you knew, do you believe that you were the first person to begin an investigation into Jeffrey Williams, or do you believe that there was already investigations into Jeffrey Williams?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance into investigations regarding Jeffrey Williams.
I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you have discussions with Paul Howard about the Donovan Thomas case?
Yes.
How often?
Well, there would obviously, every few months, actually. Maybe there were times it would actually be more often than that. It was definitely not one or two. I can tell you that. It was more than that.
Was he familiar with the facts of the case as alleged?
Yes.
Would Mr. Paul Howard have had access to the gang unit of the District Attorney's Office that you did not have unfettered access to?
I would presume yes. I guess I never asked him, nor did he ever tell me. It never came up, but given that he was the head of the entire office, I would assume that he had access to every room of the office. But I'm only assuming.
Do leaders of different units within the office meet with each other?
Yes, yes.
Is there coordination between units in the District Attorney's Office?
Yes, of course.
Was there coordinations between units back in 2015?
Yes.
Could there have been discussions that you were not privy to about these matters?
I'm sure.
All right, we trying to prove.
Yeah, because I don't know
Mr.
what is
Sprinkle,
going on.
you have, is it fair to say that you largely have investigative function within the District Attorney's Office?
Yes, for the most part.
But you all are also an attorney.
I am.
You have a bar code.
I do.
You're familiar with the laws of, the rules of evidence in Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. You would agree that we're in here today not on a murder case, but a large RICO case, which one part of it.
Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. I got 13, 15 people here
The
watching.
indictment that is before the court.
Let's run them likes up.
And I am familiar that the primary or the first count or couple of counts is a RICO case. As far as I'm concerned, I was primarily, if not really exclusively, concerned with the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Correct. But you are aware that this indictment that we're all in here today involves more than just the 2015 shooting of Donovan Thomas.
I'm aware of that, yes.
Okay. And there are 4 people that you chose to charge and indict. Well, we'll get to that. There's 4 people that you advised the state to indict for the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Well, I believe there are 5, and I was definitely part of meetings regarding the indictment. But again, this was really Don Geary that was leading the charge on who to indict for the murder. Now, was I influential? Of course, but I wasn't the one who ultimately made that decision. But
You weren't the one to make a decision. When was this case ready to take to the grand jury? The alleged murder of Donovan Thomas
was well, it wasn't an alleged murder. He absolutely was murdered. It was May of 2022.
It wasn't ready?
No. When was the case presented to the grand jury?
When was it ready to take to the grand jury?
I can't, again, because Don Geary was the attorney that was working on that, and I wasn't. Well, I guess it was ready when we presented it, right? I would assume.
Well, that's when your office chose to present it.
Yes.
I'm asking when it was ready.
I don't, you would have to ask Don Geary that.
Okay.
Because as you said, this is more than just the murder of Donovan Thomas is a big RICO case. So.
I'm aware of that, but I'm very interested in when the singular incident, the January 2015 shooting of Donovan Thomas was ready to present to the grand jury.
I would just have to say May of 2022, unless you can define the word ready a little, with a little more specificity.
That's when your office decided to present it, is your answer.
Right, correct.
Mr. Sharp, hold on 1 second.
Man, what's going on?
Man, I don't know what they. Is that Thug talking?
I don't know if he's in jail for those things. Oh, I wouldn't necessarily.
That's Thug talking, ain't it?
Yeah, they I don't know. I think they talking to the judge. I don't know. I wish the camera would pan over the.
It's also the last thing I'm trying to see that.
But yeah, Rakeem, what's your take on it, man? I think I'm probably gonna take a break real fast, but tell me your thoughts on it, bro.
I think they got some evidence, but some of the stuff that they got going on is a little it's a little shaky.
Yeah.
Because he keeps saying that, a lot of the stuff that he was a lot of the things within the investigation he wasn't really privy to, but he was instrumental to. He knew some things, but some things he didn't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of getting a little weird, but
yeah.
And it sounded like, to me, I thought that sounded like Thug in the background, kind of talking to his lawyer, asking his lawyer, like, just some questions, trying to figure out exactly what it is that he's saying.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna watch a little bit more, man. I will figure they gonna go to recess in a minute, but when they go to recess,
all right, go ahead, sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a break. Probably come back later and check it out. If they're still going.
You're aware of the rules of evidence in Georgia?
Yes.
Okay, that dictate what is admissible at trial?
That's correct.
Okay. You are aware that the rules of evidence are different for a RICO case, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
You're aware that typically in a criminal case, quote unquote, bad character evidence is not admissible against the defendant.
With exceptions governed by 404B.
Right. And 404B, propensity evidence would not be admissible under 404B.
No, it's motive, intent, knowledge, plan or scheme, preparation, absence of mistake or opportunity.
You're aware of the fact that my client, Mr. Stillwell, because this is a RICO case, is being tried for 2 murders at the same time, correct?
I am familiar with the second murder from earlier this year, yes.
you're also aware that because this is a RICO case that was indicted in 2022, my client is accused of over a dozen overt acts that are listed in the indictment.
I am generally aware of the format of the indictment. I haven't studied it. If you're telling me that then I'm sure that's true.
You would agree that oftentimes if people are simultaneously accused of two separate crimes, they receive different trials for different crimes, correct? Different allegations.
Well, it would depend on if it was, for example, a crime spree based, temporal proximity being very close to the incidents or almost considered one continuous incident, then you may indict them together. But particularly given the length of time between the two incidents, you would generally indict them separately, correct?
Okay, so, and you're aware that the other murder that is alleged against my client is from 2022?
Correct.
You would agree that that would not have temporal proximity, correct?
No, I would, if these were just two completely independent murders, I would not put the 2015 murder on the same indictment as the 2022 murder. They'd be two different murders under normal circumstances.
As a lawyer, can you see where that would be prejudicial against my client?
Well, yes, I suppose if you're to have two murders on the indictment, then the jury would be told initially that there was a finding of probable cause on not one, but two different murders. And so I can understand that.
What about evidence being presented and discussed about the actions of other individuals for things that occurred years after 2015? Would those typically come in for a murder that happened in 2015?
Well, it would depend. If it was a gang-related murder, maybe. Because, when there's a gang charge that's placed on somebody, then there's a lot more evidence that can come in related to the street gang.
What about if your office decided to indict this 2015 incident in a timely manner and didn't wait till 2022? Would this case have already been tried?
Objection as to speculative
She got triggered.
and argumentative.
A stand objection.
Are you, through your investigation, did you come across a gentleman by the name of Termon Stillwell?
I did. Yeah, Detective Thorpe and I spoke with him, I believe, in early 2016.
Okay, and Termon Stillwell, who found Termon Stillwell?
I believe it was Detective Thorpe. It wasn't me, so it must have been Detective Thorpe. And I don't recall how he learned about Termon Stillwell.
Ever ask Detective Thorpe about the circumstances on how he found Termon Stillwell?
Objection, Your Honor, as to the relevance.
Yeah, what's the relevance, sir?
I mean, this is the investigation we've been talking about.
Mr. Sprinkle,
This is the investigation we've been talking about that we admitted this report as part of, and I'm asking about the investigation. I'm cross-examining the investigation.
I'll rule the objection. Go ahead, Mr. Sprinkle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead and answer it.
So if I remember correctly, he was in the Fulton County Jail. Well, we interviewed him at APD, but he was brought over from the Fulton County Jail. Contemporaneous with his arrest, he told, from what I remember, he definitely told somebody with the Atlanta Police Department that he had information on the murder. And if I remember correctly, it was the members of the Apex unit. They may have been the ones that arrested him. But at any rate, he said something to some police officer that he knew something about the murder. That got back to Detective Thorpe. So Detective Thorpe told me about it. And then Detective Thorpe transported him from the Fulton County Jail to APD where we interviewed him.
Did you ever talk to the member of the Apex unit to confirm that they were the ones that had first contact with Termon Stillwell?
I don't recall.
And Termon Stillwell, he was in jail for what?
Family violence battery, I believe.
Okay. Felony?
I don't remember if he was a recidivist or not. It may have been. I just don't remember.
And who was he accused of battering, beating?
I think it was his wife, if I remember
What's
correctly.
her name?
Sorry about that.
Would it be Vanetta Guffey?
That's it.
Okay. And
Sorry about that.
so Mr. Stillwell, Tremont Stillwell, let me be clear. Tremont Stillwell came to your attention, and did you have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Stillwell?
I did.
And when was this?
March 22nd, 2016.
So we're still back in 2016.
We are.
Okay. And did Mr. Tremont Stillwell claim to know my client Shannon Stillwell?
Yes, I believe he said that they were relative. They were related. Like Mr. Stillwell, Tremont Stillwell, said he was his cousin, if I remember correctly.
Did you ever confirm that there was any family relation?
Well, apart from their last name being the same, or one of Mr. Stillwell's, Shannon Stillwell's last names, because he was known as either Jackson or Stillwell. I mean, even back in 2016, I knew that was one of his aliases. I was never completely clear as to which name was actually his name, Shannon Jackson or Shannon Stillwell.
Okay, but let's just benefit it out. It's Shannon Stillwell. Did you ever independently, other than they have the same last name, confirm that there was any relation between the two?
I don't remember.
But Tremont Stillwell claimed that he was Shannon's uncle.
I thought it was cousin.
Cousin, okay.
Yes.
And Tremont Stillwell was in jail at the time that he met with you guys, correct? I know that you brought him over to
They trying to lock this man up, bro.
but he had pending charges.
That's correct.
Okay. And he gave you some information he claimed could be used against Shannon Stillwell.
That is correct.
Okay. And he claimed
goddamn cousin.
that back in 2015, Shannon Stillwell ran up to him while he was walking with his wife in the park.
That is correct.
Did he indicate which park?
I don't recall the park. I just recall it being August, or it was sometime during the fall of 2015. Then Tremont Stillwell, as he strolled through the park with his wife, Miss Guffey, he came upon Shannon Stillwell, who complained of getting shot at some point in the very recent past, and that the reason for this was that he had participated in the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Okay. And according to Mr. Stillwell, according to Tremont Stillwell, Shannon Stillwell said that Kenneth Copeland, the state's witness, was also involved.
That I don't. Yeah, actually, I think he did say that. Now that you mentioned it. Yes.
Okay. And if Tremont Stillwell was to be believed, that would be a confession coming out of Shannon Stillwell's mouth.
A third-party confession. Yes, sir.
Okay. And of course, as we saw with Mr. Wright, Mr. Stillwell, Tremont Stillwell, had pending charges at this time.
He did.
And as an investigator, you wanted to corroborate what Tremont Stillwell was claiming that he had witnessed.
That's correct.
And you were also
Is your
aware
phone,
that there
bro?
were many street rumors going around at that time.
There were, yes.
Okay. So you sought to corroborate the statement of Tremont Stillwell.
That is correct.
And you decided to call in Miss Vanetta Guffey to talk to her about the situation, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And speaking of Vanetta Guffey was important because she was the person that Tremont Stillwell claimed was his wife.
That's correct.
And that Tremont Stillwell was claimed was present when Shannon Stillwell supposedly made this statement, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you...
Hey, everybody. I'm going to take a break. And I'll be on later on. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit my like to catch me on my next live stream.
Related to that interview, and it didn't go very well.
Okay, now, Mr. Sprinkle, I want you to know